This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Episode 239. Yeah, Mag right here. Rock on. Yeah. Welcome to the X&C Podcast. I am the host, but I'm not much of a host without my co-host, the great middle-aged gamer guy,
you used my
gaming
full name.
guy. Yeah, your whole government name.
My whole government name, yeah. It's crazy. The only time that anybody ever uses like my full name is when I'm getting in trouble.
Right.
So apparently I'm in trouble, folks.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been up to no good. We've had a
Obviously.
kind of a crazy week. How have you been? How's life? We didn't even talk pre-show.
Busy? Yeah, I know. We didn't talk at all. It was so busy. Busy weekend, busy. I had a big party on Saturday, had to deal with. And by deal with, I meant enjoy. But that was wild. And then like literally slept over somewhere else and then came home and then had a Super Bowl party at my house. And that went all night. So that was a whole thing. It's like the game was like the least important thing of the entire, like whatever, the night. And then all of a sudden I look at the clock and I'm like, it's 3:18 a.m. What are we doing? Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah,
That was Saturday? You
it was
stayed
a
up
wild
that
night.
late?
Oh yeah, and then Saturday, same thing, man. It was a hell of a messy weekend. I'll tell you that much. But in the midst of all that, got a lot of gaming done during the week, and I got some interesting games that I was going to bring up. So on Friday, I did Friday Night Live. We had a big turnout for that. I did Shadows of Rose, which is the DLC for Resident Evil Village. So
Okay.
we did that. And I completed it in one sitting, so that was fantastic. And that was like a little bit of a prequel leading up to, of course, Requiem, which is just a few short weeks away. Thank God. And I also downloaded, speaking of Capcom, I also downloaded Pragmata, the new game that they got coming out sometime.
The demo?
I think it's in April or whatever, end of April. So yeah, they had a demo there. The demo was available. It's available on everything. But I played it on console first. And then I downloaded it for the Switch because I wanted to see what it was like for the Switch. So, yeah, it was awesome. And actually, the Switch performance was really, really good. Graphics were great. Controls were excellent. Everything was smooth and responsive. It was incredible. So, yeah, really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Switch 2 is doing pretty well right now. I had a couple friends who were very doubtful that the Switch 2 would receive the multi-platform treatment, and it really has. You covered the Nintendo Direct later at the end of last week on your channel, and we'll talk about that in a minute because a lot of that stuff has to do with if you're on PlayStation, Xbox, as well as Nintendo Switch. We'll get into that. I did not play a lot of games, but I wanted to talk about just briefly. You were mixing up your days. You had such a crazy weekend. You were talking about Saturday, and then you talked about Saturday again. Sunday was yesterday. Was the Super Bowl.
Whoops.
So I know you were partying. Big time, and I'm from Washington State, so like we're all Seahawks fans here, but I don't follow the team as stringently as I do like the Mariners, and I just haven't really followed them. But the Super Bowl is kind of one of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever seen. Like it was like punt, return, field goal, punt, and over and over, and then they secured that win early on in the first half, so. There was no nail biting or anything, but
there was nothing. It was brutal. I mean, at one point, I think it was like the third quarter, and I think that the Patriots, I always forget his name, the quarterback for them, and he had like 56 yards, like the whole game,
and he ran most of them.
And I'm like, why are they even here? It should have been Buffalo. It would have been so much more exciting. Even if the Bills were losing, Josh Allen would have... Drake May, thank you. Not that anybody cares anymore. But either way, the thing is, if it was Buffalo, at least Josh Allen would have done something. Broken foot, doesn't matter. He would have killed himself.
Well, I mean, in the fourth quarter, they were completing passes, and they were racing down the field, doing like an amazing job. They probably would have beat the Seahawks. They finally like decided to grab themselves by the crotch and actually really play. Since we're a gaming podcast, we wouldn't sit and talk football all day, but I thought I would gloss over a couple of key moments. Charlie Puth did the opening Star Spangled Banner, which I think he did fantastic. I know it's not your song, being from Canada, but I thought that was pretty good. He's a great musician.
It was a great national anthem. Yes, it was really good. And then the halftime show, I didn't really had people like freaking out and stuff. And I'm like, actually, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was.
I thought it was entertaining.
I got to dance a little bit. I was dancing.
My only gripe is that Bad Bunny's like vocal, like you and I are like loud trumpeting vocalists, and Bad Bunny doesn't have like a really powerful, like high range voice, but I think he put on a really entertaining show for music that I don't even like really, I don't know all of his stuff, but I saw people whining and complaining about it. Like, I thought he did a fantastic job entertaining people for the show. And then the end of the night and next day, everyone's just complaining left and right. But I thought it was a fun time. But
yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. But I mean, that was, but the game itself, holy macro, it's a good thing I was drinking because, jeez. So, I had like 15 people at the house. So like we were all just talking and having a good time. It just basically turned into a party. And like we would watch the game and it was so pathetic that I was just like, this isn't even worth it. Like it was just constant 3-and-outs from New England. And I'm like, can you guys do something, anything? And then they got that one big touchdown, which was pretty awesome. And I'm like, all right, that's more like it. But check your watch, folks. Little too late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyways,
I was barbecuing wings, and I thought, I'm gonna miss the game going in and out of and checking, and I didn't miss much. But being video game stuff, there was no like about big video game ads that I don't think there was.
There was no big anything.
Like where was Grand Theft Auto, Mag? I thought your insider. You reported that Grand Theft Auto was going to get its full gameplay reveal during the Super Bowl ads and a tie-in with Doritos.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Thanks, Colt. Someone's going to clip that and be like, Meg said this. And I'm like, I never said that. But no, man, it was pretty weak, like overall, like in terms of even the entertainment value. There was no trailers. Nothing interesting. We didn't see anything. Like they showed. They showed Grogu in Mandalorian, which I was just like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I actually thought it was a Pepsi ad. I didn't realize it was a trailer. It looked so bad. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm going, oh, it's a Pepsi ad with, Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm like, oh, no, that's not a Pepsi ad. That's a trailer for the movie. But nothing else. No Doomsday, no Spider-Man, no video games, no nothing. It was brutal. And I'm sitting there. But the thing is, though, think about this. These corporations are actually kind of wising up a little bit. And here's the thing. When you get like sort of. When you get Doomsday, right? For example, that's gonna be a monster trailer, like the actual full-length trailer, not all those teasers that they had, or Toy Story 5, or anything like that. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, whatever, right? The thing is that they will just put it on YouTube for free, just like we do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we put our videos on YouTube. Whatever. They're going to drop the trailer for free on YouTube and make a crap ton of money off of that from the views. So they're like, well, why would we pay $1 million for every 30 seconds when we could do it for free and actually make money by dropping the trailer? Right? Yeah, because once that trailer's out there, everybody's going to be watching it, right? And everybody's going to be talking about it. It basically advertises itself. So that's why they're no longer doing it. But the thing is, it's kind of lost, like Super Bowl has lost that sort of huge, like, you know what I mean? Like that huge production, that huge like a show. And it just didn't feel like it. It just felt like a regular football game. I was just like watching. I'm like, there's nothing crazy to talk about here. You know? I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, there was some viral moments that people were talking about, but I know there were actually people who were saying that Super Bowl was going to have some sort of reveal in the video games industry. And it never even crossed my mind yesterday that there'd be anything for gaming, because 2025 is pretty packed, especially the whole entire year, right? And I'm like, everything's already coming out. There's nothing really left to reveal at this point. And Xbox certainly wasn't doing anything, and PlayStation didn't do anything for that. So,
I think it's the same thing, though, dude. I think it's the same thing, because now, like, whether it's Microsoft or whether it's Sony or whether it's Nintendo, they just upload their own things to YouTube. Same deal, and they don't have to pay for it. It's not like they got to pay YouTube and be like, hi, okay, here's $5 million. We're going to put our showcase on YouTube. No, they just do it for free. And so they get the money from the views on top of that. So, like, they don't do these big things anymore. I think that, like, the last time we saw Kratos on the basketball court is the last time we're going to see, that kind of thing. Because they're like, why are we wasting all this money when we go viral anyway? right?
Yeah,
So like
absolutely.
you're not going to see Gears. You're not going to see Gears E-Day at Super Bowl anymore. You're not going to see Wolverine at Super Bowl or the World Series or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Maybe even the World Cup. You might not see anything. Like it's.
Yeah, Rockstar could put out a Grand Theft Auto reveal gameplay trailer on MySpace, and it would break the internet, right?
Exactly. And then they do it for free.
Yeah,
And like I said, they do it for free. They just upload for free.
I looked it up, and so I thought I'd get your ballpark guess before we move on. How much do you think the average cost of a Super Bowl 2026 advertising spot is?
Advertising spot?
Yeah,
I would think no less than $5 million.
It
for like a 2-minute commercial.
The average is 8 million, some exceeding 10 million for an ad. I just can't see a video game company utilizing that. When Mag's like, hey, why would you do that when it's free on the internet? You can literally tweet
YouTube.
something out on one platform and everyone will get a hold of it somehow. So,
well, that's the thing. Like I said, we just did, like we just talked about with the Nintendo Direct, right? We had the Nintendo Direct situation that happened on Thursday. We had the Xbox Developer Direct, whatever, as well. And then you've got the Sony thing. I'm sure we're going to bring that up.
Yep.
That's coming up later this week. And so they just upload it to YouTube. Like it's free. Like, why would you pay $8 million? You said $8 million to 10? 8 to 10 million? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 8 to 10
for
million.
Like the advertising spot.
Yeah,
okay,
no way.
So why would you even spend that? Like, you could save that 8 to 10 million and put it back into your production of the game, or at least reduce the cost of your budget. You know what I mean? So like it's a no-brainer. So, but it sucks for us because you're sitting around with all your friends and everything else, and you're expecting as soon as a commercial comes on, you're like, all right, let's go. Let's see Toy Story 5. Let's see whatever. Let's see Wolverine. Let's see Gears. Let's see Halo. Let's see
what about
whatever.
like a High Guard trailer at the Super Bowl or something? That would have
been awesome. Yeah,
amazing.
do that for free. At the very end, it's the one more thing at the Super Bowl, right when they
on the final
right
time
when they
out.
dump the Gatorade. Yeah, as soon as they dump the Gatorade, the one more thing that they show a High Guard trailer on the big screen in the stadium. Yeah, there you go. Sorry,
Thirsty?
High Guard guys, we're just taking shots, so we're just having some fun.
Yeah, not many people really talking about it, but hey, they had their time in the sun. Well, we thank you everybody for being here. We appreciate you. This is the XSC podcast, and we talk about most gaming stuff. We talk about even PlayStation stuff. If you see the ticker tape at the bottom, we'll be talking about state of play and what that means for you as a PlayStation or a Xbox or PC fan. Like these are all, we're kind of living in a world where everything's kind of interwoven together when it comes to the gaming news. Not many people really miss out when it comes to different games coming. I mean, the biggest ones are multi-platform. So there are a lot of things to talk about. In lieu of that, I wanted to talk to you, Mag, about a big news piece that broke over the weekend. Friends of the channel and friends in real life, Xbox Era did a full rebranding 2 years after what I would call the ground zero detonation of the world of video gaming. Those are probably words that I don't know why I continue to say those, but those are words that will be construed wrong. But basically the epicenter of a massive shift in the way the Xbox does business. And make fun of you all you want, make fun of me all you want, but they've already got me with the shock face, so it's even my kid sent that to me today. I thought that was funny. My kid sent me just out of nowhere. She's at work. She sends me the shocked face. I go, yeah. I'm famous.
I used the shock face on my when you and I played. Well, excuse me. When you and I attempted to play High Guard, I used the shock face of you riding a horse. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm shocked face, and I'm like hanging off the horse sideways. So Xbox Era announced that they are rebranding to Day One, which is a phrase often used in the games industry about releases or service-based games and reveals and all that stuff. So you and I have we've just sent messages back and forth this weekend as that news broke, and I thought I would have you take a first crack at what you think of that, and then we're going to talk about how that pertains to our show and some of the other shows on our peer list. There we go. I said everything.
First and foremost, we might as well announce it now. We've changed the show from XNC. It's now called Day One Newscast. That starts next week, by the way. Next Monday, the Day One Newscast.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to send Mag the memo.
D1NC.
It's Day Two because we wanted to direct.
Okay.
Yeah, Day Two because we want to directly compete with Day One podcast and Xbox Two podcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, there it is. That's exactly what it's going to be. I mean, and also we're late to the party, so we have to be named Day Two. So, actually, game adaptation in the chat, he said something good. What the hell did he say? He had a better name for it.
Oh,
Game Era.
Game Era.
Game Era is okay. Yeah. And the thing is,
without the extra E,
you can utilize the E. You know what I mean, for the two different words, right? So there's just GAM and then ERA. That actually is not bad. Pretty good.
Or Glam Era.
But either way, that's what they're called now, and that's all there is to it. Now, the thing is, the thing is, a lot of people out there, they're saying these different things when it comes to that. And they're saying, well, if you kind of paint yourself in a corner with one particular, let's say, brand or company or whatever, you kind of get stuck if, like, for example, let's say that company goes away, right? Or if a product goes away. I'm not saying that that's the case here, but I'm just saying in general. Like, for example, if you have like some people like had Game of Thrones channels, right? It was just dedicated to Game of Thrones. And then they're like, okay, well, now we have to sort of pivot a little bit. We can't call it Game of Thrones, whatever, fill in the blank of whatever the channel is. Because then all of a sudden House of the Dragon comes out. Then all of a sudden, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms comes out. So then they kind of like rebrand it so that there's like, well, everything George R.R. Martin or whatever, right? And so they kind of like do all that. And then like you could see some of that. But like Xbox is not going anywhere per se, right? Either is PlayStation and Nintendo. They're all going to be there. And they will continue to be there. However, and then that's the other thing. So like you could say, well, people like, well, if you have like an Xbox only podcast or a PlayStation only podcast, if something happens there, now you're screwed. And then, you're going to lose people and, it's kind of going to dissolve or whatever else. But at the same time, Colt, you've been basically Xbox for this entire time and you're doing well. Right. So like there's arguments for both sides. So like you will always have a group of people who will always follow you and always like, support you. And you're going to find new people that are going to always support you and follow you and watch your videos and this and that. So, yeah. So like there's arguments for both sides where you could say, well, you don't want to be too. But the other thing is, too, if you're too generic, here's the other thing. If you're too generic, let's say you're just covering everything or whatever, then you kind of get sort of that middle crowd and you don't get like the really like hardcore people that will like, fall off the ends of the earth with you or for you and with you and all that kind of stuff. You don't get that super passionate crowd. So what I did, and this is why I'm just going to tie it in with what I'm doing personally. Okay. So what I'm doing on my channel, it's more along the lines of, instead of being like giving myself an identity in one way, it's not about the product. It's about us. So like I'm turning it around. You know what I mean? Like turning the camera around instead of focusing on like, okay, well, this is going to be an Xbox channel. Or this is going to be a PlayStation channel or whatever. I'm like, no, let's not do that. The gaming is there and that's why we're there, right? But instead of doing that, turn the camera around and say, this is about us and our feelings about the gaming and games and whatever else. And it doesn't matter what it is. So in a way, what I tried to do with my channel is make it more personal. You know what I mean? And not just personal with me, but personal with the audience so that they can share their experiences and why we are where we are or why we do what we do and what we play and you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. So I kind of turned the camera around to us and the focus is actually like me and the audience as opposed to the brand. And so that's why I kind of walked away from that. So we talk about everything, absolutely, but we're talking about it from a very personal point of view. So that works for me. Now, them changing it to day one, well, maybe they got spooked. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
Yeah, because
what do you think? Like, you think they just got spooked and going, "Oh crap, this is we're gonna lose our livelihoods. We got to open this up."
Yeah, when you were talking about is Xbox going to go away or it won't go away? I was thinking there's another side to that. Like when you talk about Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones is super popular. It's never going away. But if one of those brands gets into a place where they frustrate too many people and they want to leave, then you got to yank away from the name. And I think what's happened with Xbox is since the beginning of 2024, and you and I were here for all of it, that there are a subsect of people who have said, I'm out, I'm done. And I know people say we covered this last week. People say Xbox is dead, but what they really mean is it's dead to me. And I know they mean that, but they want to tell everybody that the brand is dead and stop supporting it because it's over, but that's not the reality. They're like, they don't say it, but what they really mean is that the Xbox I knew that made me a list of games that I could brag about over PlayStation fans and used to actually try and sell consoles, that Xbox is dead to them. And we're going to get into the discussion here about what that means for us. Like you started talking about the channel. Xbox era seems to have taken a pivot where they're like, we don't want to be associated with only Xbox as a name because I'm speaking for Xbox era, right? They're saying we talk about news for everything. They always have. I mean, their founding lead member, his favorite game is Rocket League, which is just a multi-platform game. They've always talked about PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Nintendo. Just like you and I have talked about everything. I mean, you're the only one who talks about Nintendo on here, right? So we talk about everything anyway. But the difference is you and I have this podcast together called XNC Podcast. The X stands for Xbox, but most of it is branded XNC this, XNC that, right? My channel is Colteastwood. Your channel is The Mag Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about...
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I also want to talk about like Rand and Jez with Xbox 2. There's quite a bit I want to cover before we get into the news because they have a podcast called Xbox 2. The name Xbox 2 is a double meaning. You guys probably already know this, but Xbox 2 because it's these two guys doing the show, but Xbox 2 was the colloquial name for the Xbox console that would succeed the Xbox One. You know, that was
and it would still work because because even though, right, because they the Xbox One and then they called it the Xbox 2, and it was kind of a clever sort of double entendre there with the
and the name Xbox 2 was back in 2018 and part of 2019. The words Xbox 2 were heavy on SEO for people looking into what next generation could be next to the PS5. Right. So, sorry, you were going to say, Mag, about
no, I was just going to say, like, we were going to. I was going to bring back Xbox era there for a conversation. I'm like, they're like, oh, well, we want to talk about everything. It's like, well, you kind of were already, but they were probably having like buyer's remorse with the name. You know what I mean? Because you literally called yourself the Xbox era. And like you could so it kind of sounds funny when you think about it. You're like, okay, guys, Xbox era, we're here. We're going to be talking about PlayStation today. You know what I mean? Or we're going to be talking about Nintendo today.
I mean, the PlayStation podcasts do that anyway, right? It's not just a joke, right?
Yeah, but a lot of those podcasts, even them, they're not called the PlayStation podcast or whatever. They just happen to be PlayStation centric or whatever, right?
Like Sacred Symbols, Press Start. Yeah, they're all like PlayStation branded, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, even you could take a name like Sacred Symbols, and we all know what that means. That's basically isn't it these like the
triangle circle
on the
I mean, they could make a political podcast or a tech podcast or a food podcast and still use that name.
You could still use the name, right? Because it doesn't actually affect it. It's not like it's called the PlayStation Button Podcast, right? Like Sacred Symbols could be utilized for anything. And the funny thing is, even at the end of the day, even XNC, same deal, right? People know what it means, but at the same time, you could still call it XNC and talk about whatever the hell you want because it's not literally called, the Xbox Show or this and that or whatever. And then say, well, today's episode of Xbox Show, we're going to start with the PlayStation Direct, right? And people be like, what?
What? I don't want to hear about that.
It's like the name says Xbox Show, right? So you could call it that. Same thing with Middle-Aged Game Guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's my full name. That's my government name. And so you look at that. When I am no longer middle-aged and I'm 60, you can call me Mag, and it still sounds just fine. No one calls me middle-aged game guy anyway, except for you. You know what I mean? So, like, people just call me Mag. So Mag will still be appropriate when I'm 60, when I'm 65, when I'm 70, whatever. It'll still be appropriate because it doesn't really whatever. But when you have the full name of Xbox in the title of your show or PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever, you're kind of getting painted in that corner, not only from yourself, but you're kind of getting painted in the corner from your audience because that's what they're expecting to see or hear about or whatever, right? I don't think it's about the disdain towards that brand. I think it's more along the line of the perception from the audience, right? So if they start focusing on all of this other stuff, people are going to be like, what the hell these guys talk about? It says it right in the name. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's more about the perception from the audience. I don't know. That's just a take. Either way, I don't like the name. I'm just saying it right now. I don't like the name.
You don't like the name
I don't like the Day One name. No, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't flow nice. It doesn't have like a thank you game adaptation. Listen, oh, you son of a gun.
What?
Never mind. I'm not saying it out loud because if you go look into the chat, go see what he put. The game adaptation newscast.
He does not.
No, I know,
76
but like
maybe.
nobody said the finally aged game guy.
Oh, I thought he
If
said
you were to
he also.
abbreviate, if you were to abbreviate that,
The
like you
finally
would
aged
Mag.
game guy.
Yeah, now
Welcome. Yeah, and then
abbreviate
what would you call
Mag.
your followers? I'd love to hear that.
You know what I could be calling my followers? I call my followers canceled. That's what I would be canceled right off the internet. Y'all know what read between the lines, folks. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there was a there's a really toxic content creator that uses that word and won't write it correctly because he knows he'll get kicked off of Twitter. It's like, oh, you think you're so brave? Just write it and get kicked off of Twitter. Yeah, but
you mean like
these people
they'll do it with like a PH or something,
or with using what do they call it? Leet speak, by using like a 4 for an A and yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
okay,
that sort of thing.
Saying. Yeah.
Right.
It's like the little technicalities to get away with it, right?
I mean, Meg and I laugh about it because just a few years ago, you couldn't even say anything at all. Like you couldn't even like accidentally say something. One of our friends at podcasts like misspoke and said a slur like by misspeaking on accident, and people like want to throw a fit. But the whole thing
Someone
with
did that to me on a live stream. Someone did that to me on a live stream, and I can't say the word, but they used like 2 names. But if you say it fast, I'll give everybody a hint. The first name was Nick. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so
classic.
I'm in the middle of the show, and this was like I think it was like 1 month into my channel. And so I was just getting interested, like just getting used to like being able to read chat, play games, doing whatever, or just whatever, talking and doing all that stuff. And I looked over and I said the name and I said, "Hey man, welcome to the chat."
Yeah.
And then as soon as I said it, I went, "Oh, right."
Yeah, there's a classic meme.
I'm like, you nailed me. Yeah, so now I'm wiser to it, right? So I'm much wiser to it. So, but yeah, like, you could slip up on stuff like that because people are trying to trip you up. You know what I mean? Like you're running the race and there's always that one guy, okay? There's always that one guy who's got to do this. Got to stick his foot out.
Yep, and trip you.
And then try to make you fall.
I don't know. People are a little more lenient about honest mistakes, so I don't care about that stuff. But when I look at
anything about it, thank God.
when I look back at
first month,
when I look at Xbox 2 podcast, they've very heavily Xbox, just like this show is, and they cover everything as well. But I've always tried to look at everything when it comes to gaming news from the perspective of someone who's on PC or Xbox, or even more better put, I try to look at everything from a person that doesn't just play in one place. Like if you just own a PlayStation, you're missing out on a lot of different things. So I've said this for a long time. Somebody tried to do a gotcha on me today that I hate. What did they say? That I hate that other people can play other games. I'm like, but I've always said through the whole ABK trial, Xbox literally lets you play your games on every device except for just a PlayStation at that point, right? So
that was me, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That was me trying to get a gotcha on Colt.
Yeah, some guy gotcha'd me on a 3.5-year-old video I made about Activision Blizzard, and I'm like, brain cells are hard to come by these days, but when it comes to Xbox 2 podcast, there's some other podcasts in the scene, like Mr. Boomstick also does a very Xbox centric podcast. He doesn't have an Xbox name in it, but
no, but that's the thing. Like he's got like his different shows. He's got the primetime gaming. He's got like Breakfast with Boom. I always forget the other one, the daytime one, the lunch one. He does it in the daytime. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't remember the name either.
So like, you know what I mean? Like, and again, he could be Xbox centric, but it's not in the name of the. He can be. He is Xbox centric, but he doesn't have it in the titles of his show.
Yeah,
Xbox Factor. I think that was one of the shows he had. I think that was an old one. Yeah, Xbox Factor.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's not the name of his channel. It's not the name of his identity. He's Double Barrel Gaming. He's Mr. Boomstick, right? And so, like, you can carry on, and you're able to move from genre to genre, from company to company, and talk about whatever. and still no one's going to say it. Like, for example, I know, like, he's talked about it before, even when he's doing his shows. And like I said, heavily Xbox centric, whatever. But he also says, "Oh, by the way, I really loved Astrobot. I platinumed it. I love this game, and I played this one. I played Ghost of Yote, and it was a great game, and all that kind of stuff." No one's gonna say anything. You know what I mean? No one's gonna say anything. So you could sort of like smoothly move from like product to product and just kind of do your thing, and no one's gonna say anything. It's the same thing with my channel. Like I talk about what I want to talk about, and nobody bothers me for the most part, except for game adaptation and Maverick.
Right. Yeah, I think I don't think that Jez and Rand would be changing the podcast name from Xbox 2 to something multi-platform. And I've had a couple of my friends tell me, I could rebrand the podcast and get rid of the Xbox name, and nobody even noticed today, Mag, that I made a small change just for kind of a joke because of the topic we'd be talking about. And when people notice it, they can write it in the chat. But
I didn't even notice it.
Here's the thing, okay? I get a lot of people who send me replies or comments on videos, and they tell me that Xbox is dead. Here's how I look at it. Xbox was massive when they had the 360, but for probably 10 to 15 years, they were very, very small and shrunken by their own admission. Xbox was very small, but right now I feel like they are bigger than they've ever been. They are threefold in studios, fourfold in how many games they're working on, and they've expanded their, which is the thing that people get so mad about. They've expanded their games to the Switch 2 and the PlayStation, and they've got publishers coming to them and doing Play Anywhere, letting you crossplay across. Satnus said something in the chat, letting you crossplay across console and PC. Even Satnus said that they need to put Play Anywhere onto PlayStation. I don't know if that's something that PlayStation has to approve, but Forza Horizon 6 will be Play Anywhere across all platforms. If you buy the game, when it comes to PlayStation, your save will go right over to the PS5. So Xbox, in my opinion, is way bigger than they've ever been. And I think of it as everyone's so stuck in the mindset, and we should be. We've been so stuck for so long that a console platform is the be-all, end-all. Because Mag and I grew up in an era when my Intellivision, this is not a sexual innuendo, Mag, my Intellivision cartridge would not fit in your Atari 2600. Right? If I brought my game over...
That is 100% an innuendo. But yes, carry on.
If I brought over Pitfall, which I had on the Intellivision, and tried to put it in your Atari, it would go... I think the carts were slightly different size. I don't remember.
Yeah, they wouldn't fit.
But, I mean, that's the world we grew up in. Ever since... we were just little squeakers. Your Genesis cartridge or your Sega Master System cartridge, and the games were different. So it's been quite an adjustment. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's more of an adjustment for Microsoft as they're branching out towards that, the Project Latitude and the actual publishing arm of whatever else. But I mean, for the most part, you're still going to find that. For the most part, you're going to find that with the other companies are still doing the traditional business model. They're more than happy to accept the other games though, because why not? It's going to increase their sales. But you're not. And then the other thing is too, you could talk about the digital age. Like with the cartridges thing, you could easily get away with something that actually just, you can only buy this here because it's only going to fit in that box. You know what I mean? When you slam the cartridge in or whatever, and you can continue to get away with that. As the digital world increases, it becomes nothing but licensing and the click of a mouse. Right, is where you can actually just say, okay, well, we're going to put it over there now.
Yeah,
right?
A handshake.
You have to develop for it and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I understand all that. You have to develop for the other hardware, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it's all about licensing and a click of a mouse. You could do all that. But they still won't, because their business values are different than Microsoft's business values, and they're going to operate differently. Microsoft has opened up their thing because, let's face it, that's also a fail-safe. I said that last week on my show, that I said, Project Latitude was not only just to make them more money, which it will, and it's going to continue to make them more money. It's also a fail-safe. If all else fails, they could say, well, we'll just be the new EA. You know what I mean? If all else fails. And I'm being very, very drastic, but that's what they do. They sit down and they say, okay, guys, best case scenario, worst case scenario, lay it on me, right? And that's when the CEO sits down like this and he says, lay it on me, Give me the best case, give me the worst case. And so they do all that. They say, best case, we're making billions of dollars, we're doing great, this and that, ecosystem's doing well, healthy, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, all right, fine, what's worst case? He goes, well, worst case, we don't do anything else. We just shut the whole damn thing down and become a publisher. And he goes, okay, how much money are we going to make there? Well, we'll be making X amount of dollars, this and that. He goes, okay. And so they just do that because they don't go down one road. Corporations do not go down one road without a side road available so they could just steer the car instead of going off the cliff, and they could continue to carry on. As it stands right now, Sony and Nintendo are not in that position. They're not. They're just doing what they're doing. And who knows? Like, we can't predict what's going to happen in 5 years. We can't predict what's going to even happen next year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one day they might just be like, hell with it. Just give them Spider-Man, whatever. No one's buying it anymore. But they won't.
I don't think they will.
They're hanging on to those things. They're hanging on to those things because it has value for not now. And see, that's a lot of thing that people misinterpret. Is like, well, why can't they just give us 2018? It's 7 years old now or 8 years old. Nobody cares anymore. Just give it to them. And I'm like, that's not what it's about. It's about protection of their future. Because when you're looking at that, they want to hang on to that for future games, not for those old ones. And of course, younger generations coming up, trying those new games. That's been happening, by the way, a lot. And I've been noticing it more and more with my kids, and the kids around me are now getting out of the Fortnite and Roblox phase.
Okay.
Now they're starting to look at other games. And I'm like, look at this. And I found my daughter, get this, right? My daughter's 10 years old, and she was in a room, and I hear like all these like slamming and like swords and all kinds of stuff. And I go in the room, I look at her, and she's there playing God of War. And I'm like,
oh, interesting.
She was playing Roblox. She only has a PlayStation, right? So she's playing God of War. My son plays Call of Duty now, right? He's grown out of the Fortnite. I'm not saying growing out. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but like he's moved up to like Call of Duty, Battlefield. He just picked up Battlefield 6, right? And like he's getting into that kind of thing. And he plays single player games too. And guess what he started asking me about? You ready for this? He said, how many Gears of War games have you played?
Oh, interesting.
And I said, all of them. And he goes, there's a new one coming this year. Some of the guys were talking about it, like his friends. Right? And I'm like, look at that. So you see what I'm saying? So like when you protect those, or even whatever, you decide to do what you're going to do, the younger generations are going to grow up and start discovering that stuff. Right? And but that's their business model. But
yeah, PlayStation, they make so much money on their consoles. Why would they do anything any different? And then they have, because they make so much money. It's also
the access to their store. You know what I mean? That's still the number one reason. It's the only way you can access their stuff outside of Steam.
Yeah, their consoles they sell more consoles than anybody else. I think they're outpacing even the Nintendo Switch right now. And then they have the majority of games get bought on the PlayStation for the most part. I think Steam might have them beat, but when you kind of take a step back, the PlayStation 5 has such a large chunk of game sales of games that they don't own, and they just sell them. So I heard, this isn't an insider thing. This is just somebody who told me they know what's going on with PlayStation. So I'm like, they didn't say I heard it from this special person, but I heard that PlayStation was going to start putting the occasional game on Xbox because they're like, why not? Xbox bowed out anyway. And then once, this is so crazy. Once Xbox started Project Latitude in force, PlayStation said, we're out. Like there was the Horizon Zero Dawn from 2017 and the Horizon Lego game were going to be the first Xbox ports of their first party titles outside of Helldivers. And once Xbox started saying Halo, Gears, and Forza and everything is going to PlayStation, Sony went, we don't have to do jack crap for these guys anymore.
No, they don't. They could literally just sit back and collect those IPs for nothing.
Yep.
Microsoft does the advertising. Although Sony, you know what? I'll give Sony this. They've been advertising Halo a lot. So they're really pushing Halo. Like I've seen it already twice now. Now, there's another picture that's floating around social media. I don't know if it's real or not, but there was something about like a controller. It looked like a Halo themed controller, and then like it showed Halo coming to PlayStation or whatever. And I'm like, that's interesting. Now, I don't know if that was fake or not. I looked at it very quickly because it was in the middle of the Super Bowl party. I had like all these people in my house, but I happened to take a look at it. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's real. I'll go check it out. And I never went back to it. I forgot all about it, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Until right now. So, but like, there's advertising there. But sure, why would Sony go and start doing that stuff? They're like, well, they're putting all the stuff here. We're going to sell millions of their games over here. We'll just keep our stuff anyway. Let them do whatever they want. They can make their own money the way they want to make it. And they'll be like, nope, we're just going to keep our business plan exactly the way it is. Nintendo, the same thing. You know how many times I've seen or heard people say, Nintendo should start putting their games on PC. I'm like, why would they? They never will. I mean, they're making money unless something massively drastic happened. And even when something drastically happened, what did they do? They went back to the drawing board and came out with the Switch after the Wii U disaster.
There's only one difference. There's one reason why PlayStation and Nintendo don't put their games day and date on PC, all of them. One reason. It's because their consoles are massively popular and they have a large profit margin. Xbox has neither of those things. And so what Xbox is doing is becoming larger by growing they're pouring water into a totally different area to
and it's going to work for them.
Engorge the company.
It's going to work for them.
It will.
It's going to work for them. And that's the thing. Like the problem is, we've talked about this before, where people try to compartmentalize what one company does, and they say, well, then all of them do that. I'm like, that's not how things work.
Especially Nintendo.
Nintendo can do what they want to do. Steam or Valve can do whatever they want to do on the PC. PlayStation, let them do whatever the hell they want. That's their business, not yours. And if Microsoft wants to do what they want to do, let them do it, because I can guarantee you this. If they're making money, they don't care how they're doing it. Their focus is money.
Yeah.
Their focus is not people arguing on Twitter. Their focus, I've spoken, by the way, again, what was it, like 4 days ago, 3 days ago, I was speaking to somebody at Microsoft, and you know what he said to me? Very, very interesting. And he didn't say it in a demeaning, mean way or anything. He just said it as a very matter-of-fact thing. And we were talking about stuff. I'm like, oh, man, some people are going to, well, we were discussing some stuff. And I'm like, man, some people are going to be happy about that. Some people are not going to be happy about that. And he goes, do you want to know something very interesting? And then like, yeah, what's up? He goes, they don't think about you guys at all. In the ways of like, what I meant.
Of what the fans want or the fans care about.
Arguing and saying they need to hear this and that. And he goes, they don't even think about that. They don't even listen to Twitter. They don't listen to YouTube. I mean, they listen to the stuff, but like they don't like sit there and go, oh crap, Colt just said this. Somebody call a meeting. You know what I mean? Like they don't do that. He says it's not even a thought in their minds. Their focus is their business model, making money, whatever else. And yes, they take feedback. They do take feedback, but it's not their focus. They're not sitting around with a clipboard listening to XNC going, oh, Mag said this.
The reason why Mag says that is because the people that are complaining about losing exclusivity to their console or not getting PlayStation's games as a trade-off for Xbox is because you don't want to hear this, but you are in a small sliver of minority of the people speaking out about video games right now in the world. I know you see a lot of people say, what happened to my exclusives and why aren't they selling the console? The console Series S and X sales simply come down to they are not in a profit margin with that console. That console costs them too much money. They never sold enough. If they, there was that rumor going around that they were at 48 million. If Xbox was actually somewhere close to 48 million, they're not. They're closer to 30 million. They would be closer to making more money off of all the consoles. PlayStation, let's say PlayStation makes 10 million consoles and then sells almost all of them in a year. That is big time money. Xbox sold their consoles so slowly that their manufacturing has not allowed them to capture a large profit margin. So what happens instead, and I've said this a million times on the show, the series consoles lose them $50 to $100 per unit. And so Xbox shut them off in the European market, limited them in the UK market, and then even during a time when the Xbox was selling pretty well in the opening couple of years, they were taking chips out of the manufacturer and allotting them to data centers for Xbox Cloud. So Xbox has made a lot of dumb decisions. That's why the Xbox console, this series, is dead right now. They've killed it.
Well, and that's why they're focusing on publishing and accessibility now. Right. And that's why they're focusing on the cloud. Remember what I told you last week? I Googled Xbox News. It was like 8 days ago or something, 9 days ago now. And I typed in Xbox News. I wanted to see what would pop up. And so 7 articles showed up. 5 out of 7 said Xbox Cloud, Xbox Cloud, Xbox
Yeah.
Cloud, and they're focusing on accessibility at this point. They're like, okay, well, we tried this, it's not working. This generation showed it didn't. There's been not incremental. It's been going down from the 360 in terms of the numbers, whatever, of the hardware. They're like, okay, so how can we increase people's accessibility to the product without having to be tied down to like the hardware, right? To a console hardware. Now, it doesn't mean they're getting rid of the hardware. They're just going to have a more curated experience for the people who will continue to buy the hardware, because there always will be. There always will be. Like when this Project Mag comes out next year, people will be buying it, right? But everybody else who's not going to buy it will still have other accessibility points or access points, right? You're going to have cloud. You're going to have all these other things. And I talked about that. Some people asked me in my chat last week, and they're like, Mag, are you going to buy a Magnus? It always makes me laugh when they say that, Mag and Magnus. And I'm like, not if it's $2,000 Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I know it sounds crazy, but like even like $1,200 US is like with up here plus tax is almost $2,000. Like 1,800 and 1,850 or whatever. I'm like, that's a lot of money. I said, but I got a beautiful monitor right here. I got blazing internet, fiber optic internet, whatever. I can access from the cloud. All I need is this.
Yep.
Just a controller, and I can access all those things right now and play it on the same screen that I would be playing a console. And I'm like, why bother? If the technology's good, which it is. I mean, the cloud gaming right now for both Xbox and PlayStation are excellent. I haven't had any issues with any of them. I've played the Portal on the road, Great Wolf Lodge, with the crappiest internet on planet Earth. And I was still playing games with no lag and no problems. It was just blazing. Well, I tried the Xbox One on my screen. Beautiful experience. So I'm like, I'm fine with that. Plus, I still have the series consoles.
It's because we live in a world, like if you're here watching the show, hit the like button. We appreciate your support. If you're here watching the show, like you care about the cultivated, high-powered experience of a console, but when you take a step back and look at the world, everyone is excited about all kinds of different things. When you look at people excited about the Steam machine, which is basically a little more powerful than the PS5 in 2026, in mid-2026 for probably $1,000 US, right? You're like, well, that doesn't really make sense because people don't care. They'll play on a PS5, they'll play on a Series S, they'll play on a Nintendo Switch. People are excited about just being able to play their games and having a different experience or having a similar experience in a different way. And Jez here in the chat, and thank you so much for gifting 5 channel memberships. And I wanted to ask Jez, because I messaged him once in a while. I'm like, what do you guys think about the Xbox name? I always ask, because I have a couple of friends who were like, Colt, get rid of it, change your channel, go do commentary about the games industry. Colteastwood. Well, change the podcast, right? They tell me to change the podcast
even XNC
name.
Is kind of ambiguous in a way. Like it's
so nobody's really. I don't think anybody said something in the chat about the little change, but for fun. But
I did see the change after the chat notified me. It was pretty funny.
Oh, okay. So, but anyway, I talked to Jez about. My friends say Xbox is dead. They're doomed. The financial report spells it out. It's all going to be over. The brand. I know Jez as well has replies to people like Xbox isn't dead. He's even said publicly that Xbox would need to get rid of Xbox Live or Xbox Network and totally get rid of their consoles for all that to shut down. And he says that more eloquently than I just did. But I can't help but look at when people think, when someone says to me, grow up, old man, Xbox is dead. I'm like, oh, that person doesn't know their head from a hole in the ground. They don't know anything. They have no idea. They've only just looked at the periphery. They've read comments on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Twitter, and they think they know. But I'm sitting here living a world of diving into the gaming news from all these platforms and Xbox. How can you not understand that Xbox is actually bigger right now than they were last generation? By a long shot. Now, people will argue with me and say, no, they sold way more consoles. I mean, you're thinking so 2010s, so narrowly. When Xbox was supposed to be, remember they were like, we're supposed to be reaching a billion gamers because we're on cloud. Right now, that's not a reality. But in 5 to 10 years from now, I said this so many times on the show, but I'm going to say it again, and you can turn up your volume, and I won't yell. In 5 to 10 years from now, we could play on demand our games by connecting a controller to our TV and have the experience we love. And we will just look back and say, man, I miss my consoles. Those are so cool. I remember buying the game discs and plugging them in and turning them on. But, it's just like my music and my movies. I get them on demand and I love it. The convenience, you can be nostalgic for it, but I think those days may come soon where we say, oh man, I don't really buy the consoles anymore. And, PlayStation will probably have one in 2035. They'll have a PS7 and it'll probably be diminishing returns. They'll probably have maybe half of the consumers on the PS7 than they did the PS6. And Xbox will be long out of just making consoles. So let me end this so we can talk about the gaming news. Mag and I will continue to do the X&C podcast. You and I have always, I picked Mag for a reason, guys.
It's a
Mag
bad
plays
choice,
on
but
Xbox.
yeah, carry on.
It was a horrible. Mag plays on Xbox. He plays a ton on PlayStation. I barely play on PlayStation, 1 to 2 games a year. I play half and half Xbox and PC. We play on handhelds. It's good to have somebody here who isn't just going to say, hey, let's talk about how crappy that PlayStation game is, because those days are over. Let me get to some supers and we're going to get into the gaming topics. And congrats to Xbox Era changing to day one. I wish them all the best. They're amazing people.
I wish you the best. I just the name doesn't
get you
it doesn't
flow.
Like it doesn't roll off the tongue well. I don't know.
I think it'll become.
It's kind of like Hunter's Gathering.
Right. We're going to talk about
the Horizon game. Hunter's Gathering does not flow off the tongue. Like every time I say it, I always have to pause, and I'm just like,
because it should be Hunter Gatherer, not Hunter's Gathering.
Hunter's Gathering, Hunter Gatherer. Why did they even bother calling it at all? They could just call it Horizon Hunters.
Let's call it Gatherers.
Horizon Hunters, and just cut it off. Horizon Hunters.
Horizon's Hather Hunting. Okay. Game Seeker, thanks so much for the Canadian 5 says, Mag, will Mark Carney be talking about the new PlayStation handheld at the State of Play?
Yes, the Canadian Prime Minister will be talking about the PlayStation 6 handheld. That's a fact, and he's going to be doing that the next time he does his little State of the Union address or whatever, and he's talking about the G7 and his deals with China and all this other stuff, and then he's going to bring up the PS6 handheld in the middle of all that. Yes, absolutely.
So last week you were saying
There's
that
too many Marks.
Mark Cerny of PlayStation is like the church lady.
He's the church
Jason
lady.
Ronald.
Jason Ronald is Gandalf.
Right? Gabe
Mark
Newell
Carney's
from
the
Steam.
Prime Minister. Yeah, he's Santa Claus. Yeah.
So who's Jensen Huang from NVIDIA? We need to.
I told you that last week. Godzilla. It's the only thing that would. I don't know.
What do you mean Godzilla?
I don't know. I don't know.
How about,
I'm gonna have to take a long look at him.
How about Google his face? How about we just call him Jet Li? He's aging Jet Li. Jet Li probably is close to his age now. Let's see what Jet Li looks like in 20. Everyone's like, oh, you white people think all foreign people look the same. No, he doesn't look like Jet Li at all.
I'm Italian. Everybody thinks I'm Scottish. So, kind of is a...
Everybody thinks I'm Norwegian.
They're like, so what are you, like, Scottish? And I'm like, no, I'm Italian. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah,
he doesn't look like Jet Li.
He looks like Dude, he looks like John Bon Jovi.
Okay, we'll call him...
Did you see John Bon Jovi at the Super Bowl yesterday?
We're going to call him Asian... Hair. We're going to call him Asian
He's the
John
Asian
Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at him. Look at the hair. He looks exactly like
leather
him.
jacket.
That's it.
He's wow,
the leather jacket, the gray hair.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, speaking of,
so we got John Bon Jovi, we got Santa Claus, Gandalf, we got the church lady, and Kami Carney in Canada.
Okay, hold on. I get a free pass on this one because
all right,
Jensen Huang singing "Living on a Prayer" with an accent would be hilarious.
Come on, dude. Like we talked about getting canceled earlier in the show. You want to start now? You want to start now? We're 55 minutes in the show.
Hold on. Let me get canceled. I was talking to my good friends about foreign accents, and I have friends who are from all different cultures, and they're in my group chat. And one of my friends said,
"You hear the cope, folks? He's doing this to protect himself."
It's the cope. No, this is what they said. They said their kids laugh when they do Asian accents or whatever. I'm like, my kids get mad at me. I'm like, how is that fair? So the other day, Moist Critical on his YouTube channel showed one of my videos because on Bilibili, the Chinese like game developer website, someone on Bilibili took my last Magnus video and auto dubbed my voice as Chinese Colt Eastwood, or as they call Far Eastwood. And I was like, Xbox Magnus, Phil Spencer.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So good.
Oh, bro, it was great. And it was my
Far
voice.
Eastwood.
Like, it was my vocal
such
cords.
a good name.
Yeah, Far
That's
Eastwood.
such a good name. I
So
mean, that could
because
be
it's-
like a character, like you do for skits, like on TikTok.
Colt,
You could be like Colt
Far
Eastwood, Far
Eastwood.
Eastwood,
Yeah, it was.
Pinocchio, all the names that they call you. Colt
But it wasn't-
Eastwood. That's another
It
one.
wasn't. It wasn't the cool like Ghost of Tsushima character voice, because it was my vocal cords because of AI. So it was like, Xbox Madness. Like that, you know. It was like, oh, you see,
Make sure-
it was,
Yeah,
but
and make sure that the dubbing is totally off, so that your lips are still moving, but you stop
And
talking.
it was.
Like
It was,
the
'cause
audio
it-
stopped, but the lips are still moving. It's like, I will
Yeah.
feed your heart to your 300 brothers and sisters to avenge my master.
Yeah, I was on camera talking, and the English mouth is moving, but the Chinese Far Eastwood was going. Yeah. So Moist Critical
Yeah, you
showed
should
this.
sue them. You can retire.
It's like 200 views on Bilibili, which is a pretty big site. But
Sue them
yeah.
for $10 million, and then that's it.
If you
Just
go
pain
to-
and suffering, you have to go see a psychiatrist. The whole thing, 10 million. You could retire right now, and then you and I could live in harmony and just do YouTube full time forever. Done.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. If you go to bilibili.com or whatever it is, or .ci or whatever they call it, Cole Rewood. If you go there and you type like Xbox Magnus, you'll see like about 10 of my videos. If you write Cole Eastwood, you'll see like 3. But yeah, it's nothing to like get up in arms about. But that's funny because a couple of weeks ago, the Brazilian YouTuber, the Brazilian YouTuber that did his voice over my video, but he used my whole production. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I'll end this segment by saying I will be looking into ways to utilize AI to auto dub my videos in other languages for people. So those videos can be more international because they do get limited by being English speaking only. And I've looked into it because YouTube says this video cannot be auto dubbed because it has music in the background. It just can't do it, but I'm going to figure out a way to do it. What I might end up doing is when I record a video, I'll just plug it into an AI or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not quite sure. I have a feeling in the near future that YouTube will be doing this stuff for us. We'll be able to tick a box and it'll say, put it in Portuguese, Spanish, Chinese, and Japanese or something. You'll pick like a few languages and it'll just do it for you. And then people will be able to select it. I know that that's something that YouTube would probably end up doing. So I want to get into the gaming news because Colt Eastwood.
Cool, go for it.
Shout out to Andy Hart, who says, good morning, gentlemen. Are you expecting anything big from Sony State of Play? And also price details on OBM for the Xbox. We'll cover that in just a bit. Andy Ackerman, thanks for the 2, says he's talking about fitting it in the box now. Absolutely, we were. We will make that cartridge fit. Seth Monsters, thanks for the 5, says Play Anywhere could still work even if you had to pay Sony their 30% for the copy in PlayStation Nation. They would still make the money people would. And they're probably working on it.
Yep.
Los Esprit, thank you so much for also gifting 5 channel memberships. Appreciate you and Jez for doing that. Jez with a 10-pound super says, Xbox needs more Gooner
money.
games. That's the main issue.
Well, is it true that Phil Spencer is not a fan of sexualized content in video games? Because I've heard that story before. I've heard that. Okay, so it's true. Yeah, all right. Because I heard it from some pretty close people up at the top to talk about it in a meeting once, and then it came up and they kind of told me about it, but I wasn't sure.
He didn't want Genshin Impact for 2 reasons, and one, that it's a gotcha gambling type game. He didn't want that to like exploit fans who are, playing to try and get stuff. But I think he also doesn't like some of the nature of those games. But Genshin Impact is probably the most innate. I don't know. You're just running around in big flowery dresses, like big deal. But I don't know. I get that feeling too, but I can't confirm that. I know we do.
Yeah.
I mean, You ran in the
I know.
snow in a big dress.
Spencer.
Paris in the chat says you picked Mag over me, and I'm forever jealous and sad. That's a lie. Paris is too busy. I'd love to have him on the show, but there's no way I was going to ask him to come and do a crappy show with 2 people watching. We appreciate that.
Crappy show. What are you talking about?
We've got over 500, almost 550 people. Thank you. Hit the like button. And if you think Mag is sexy, hit the like button 3 times, because the second time.
Dude, I'm wearing a gnocchi shirt, and I'm wearing a Star Wars original trilogy PJ pants. This is about as sexy.
Wait. Well, hold on. I got to see these pants.
Oh, sorry. This is episode 7. The original trilogy pants I was wearing on the weekend. No, these. Look. It's hard to see.
You don't have to give yourself a wedgie.
There's Kylo Ren.
Okay.
There's some shock troopers. There it is. There's Kylo Ren right there again. Yeah. It's my PJ pants. Sorry. The camera, by the way, I noticed somebody was like, did Meg shrink? I'm like, no, I didn't shrink. But for some reason, when we do the Discord, the camera's panned higher. But the weird thing is, when I do my stuff on my thing on Streamlabs, okay. Because when I'm on Streamlabs, it's actually centered better. And it's the weirdest thing.
No, I mean,
knock it off.
I have you almost at the bottom. Yeah, maybe it's well, that's the thing we'll talk about offline, but it's
the weirdest thing. And so, like, when I go on Streamlabs to do my material, the camera's beautifully centered, it's lower, whatever, but for some reason it focuses up higher when I'm on this show, specifically when I'm on Discord doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So if I actually did this, like, I can grab the camera right now and turn it down, right?
But
so
then change your other
the way
stuff,
I normally do. But then you know what ends up happening? When I go to Streamlabs tomorrow morning to do my video, it's going to be all you're going to see is my crotch. You know what I mean?
That's
so
about all I can do
work.
right there. I got him up a little bit higher, but that's about all I can do. Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, I know people want to see my crotch and, you know, whatever, but like, you can go to my Mag OnlyFans. But either way, if I start farting around with that, like I said, 90% of the material I do is on the settings that I have it on. I only do this show once a week. So if I keep farting around with it back and forth, I'm just going to screw it all up.
I'm on an OLED, a 65-inch OLED right here. My camera's mounted on top of it. If I touched that camera, it would probably topple off of there. Like it's like hanging on. You know, those OLEDs are like this thick. You know, those TVs. Yeah. So, all right, let's get into the gaming news. Meg, will you give us a report, a quick, exciting report about the Nintendo Direct and
yes.
Yeah, I mean, what were the big highlights that we need to hear about?
Well, I mostly forgot now because I have short-term memory loss because I drink a lot. So I don't really remember what happened in the show. But they did show they showed Resident Evil Requiem again, but this time they showed it running on the Switch. Now, here's the funny thing, and someone else pointed this out. It wasn't me. And I was watching the trailer, but I was so busy doing the live stream, and I'm talking to the chat and dealing with all that, and I'm watching the show and whatever, making sure that everything's running smooth. I didn't notice something until someone pointed it out after me. They're going, hey, did you notice that Leon's aim was really off? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, go watch it again. And then I'm watching it again, and because it was for the Switch, they didn't show any of the blood and guts they showed in the other trailers when they showed it on the PlayStation and whatever else, and they showed the trailers. And, well, they didn't censor it. They just had the gameplay, like Leon is like literally taking shots at dudes and completely missing them.
Oh, so you wouldn't see the blood.
Whereas when you watch the other one, you see like a kneecap get blown out and blood sprayed out of it, the chainsaw through the dude, a guy get a headshot, you see like the skull fragments blow out the back, but they didn't show that in the Switch version, right? Now it's going to be in the game, of course, but they didn't show it there. Now the interesting thing is it was kind of, I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing because they're trying to keep it PG, right? Because a lot of kids watch Nintendo and stuff like that. But the good thing is, and this is the big takeaway I got from the Nintendo Direct, is that Nintendo is doing the right thing because now, Crispy, you're distracting me. He's distracting me with funny quips in the comment section. The thing is that their expansion into more mature content and more third-party content, because the hardware is a little bit better than it normally is, right? It's certainly more, So that being the case, you're able to play Resident Evil Requiem day one, which is incredible, by the way, and apparently it runs very well. That's we're also going to be getting eventually when they get Starfield. I keep hearing that there's going to be a performance mode on the Switch 2 for Starfield, and I'm like, that's fantastic, right? And then they also showed Pragmata.
But then there's a report that Starfield is not coming to the Switch too. So
I know I keep hearing that
Yeah.
too. I keep hearing that too, but I keep hearing otherwise. But whatever, man. You know what? We're just gonna find out when we find out. That's all there is to it. But we also keep hearing that it's gonna drop in April. I heard a couple other people talk about that. Not me, but I just heard it might drop on PlayStation 5 in April or something. I don't know what the hell. But
yeah.
so like
it's a given at this point, I think.
the idea is that they're expanding their repertoire, you know what I mean, outside of just Kirby, Mario, Zelda, this and that, and maybe a couple of like games like Split Fiction or It Takes Two or whatever. But now they're expanding into big games. And like, you know, the deal they got with Capcom right now, when you've got, for example, Resident Evil Requiem coming out day one, and then on top of that, you've got Pragmata coming out for the system, and it's a demo's available right now. And so I'm like, right now? For the Switch too. So what I did, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. I wish I had my Switch here. My son took it. But I downloaded the demo for console and I downloaded it again for Switch 2 because I wanted to see what the performance was like. And Pragmata on the Switch 2 is fantastic.
Yeah, Capcom's engine is amazing.
And so so this is what I'm trying to say. So the idea is that by expanding this, you're going to get more people attracted to the console, right? As opposed to saying, well, I only use it for
Nintendo games.
Fill in whatever, fill in the blanks for whatever first party IPs or whatever else, right? So there was all that. There was a couple of games that I was interested in. There was a lot I wasn't interested in. The very first game they showed, and for the life of me, someone in the chat will remember the name. I just tried looking it up while I'm talking to you. But there's one that's very reminiscent of Split Fiction and It Takes Two. It's done by another company, but the idea is the same. 2-player co-op game, beautiful graphics. What an incredible looking game. And the cool thing was it's got the same idea of like the buddy system or whatever. One person buys it, the other person can get a friend pass.
Oh,
and
cool.
so you could play the game without having to, you know what I mean? Orbitals, thank you, 78. Yeah, because 78 was in the chat there. STO, I see you, brother. Yeah, he nailed it too. Orbitals, what a wonderful looking game. Man, I was so excited when I saw that game. I'm like, that's a day one buy. But the thing is, this is what else is interesting. Nintendo's doing the right thing because they got me now thinking about buying Indiana Jones on it. They showed Indiana Jones as well, by the way. They also talked about they also
Indiana
talked about,
Jones getting a Switch 2
Oblivion.
Oblivion.
Well, because the Keebler elf showed up, right? So the Keebler elf showed up and he was talking about Bethesda and this and that. He goes, oh yeah, Bethesda, we're going to be releasing our games. And I'm like, okay. And so I watch it and they showed Oblivion is going to be coming there, and then Indiana Jones is going to be coming there, and then they also showed the Fallout, like Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is going there as well. And so I'm like, by expanding this, you're getting me to focus on the Nintendo Switch 2, where I'm thinking about buying more games there. And therefore, from a business sense, they absolutely succeeded. And I'm going to buy, I already told you this, and I told the chat this as well. My personal Xbox game of 2025 was South of Midnight, and it's coming out soon on the Switch 2. I'm buying it. I'm buying it on the Switch 2. So therefore, it's working. I'm also buying Resident Evil Requiem. I mean, everybody knows I'm a Resident Evil stan, so I'll buy it wherever. But I'm buying it for the Switch 2 as well, because I'm going to buy that Legacy Edition. You get Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition, 8 Gold Edition, and Requiem in one package, $120 Canadian. So I'm like, dude, I'm sold. So I'm buying that. I'm buying South of Midnight. I'm 50-50 on Indy Jones, but I'm leaning towards it because I'm like, you know what? It might be kind of fun. Like, I might do that, right? And now that I played the Pragmata demo on there, I might buy Pragmata on the Switch as well. So this expansion of their, of their product and their business model is working. Because if it's working on someone like me, then it's going to be working for a lot of other people to be like, now that it's available there, I might think about, I'll pick that one up over there. I might pick this on the PlayStation. I might pick up this on Xbox. I'll pick up this on the Switch because that'll be kind of fun to play on the plane or whatever else. And so as a result of that, that was my biggest takeaway from the Nintendo Direct, is that by doing this, they're getting more people to buy third-party games on that system. It's a brilliant move, and it's something above and beyond. Metroid Prime 4 did not hit the way they wanted to. And so that's the thing. When you're gambling with just one IP or like a handful of IPs and they don't work out, you are screwed. So you have to nail them every single time.
Yeah,
right?
I've always said,
what if the next Animal Crossing sucks? And they put all those eggs in one basket. You know what I'm saying? But by
I've always said,
up,
if Nintendo could get the games everyone else gets, people could literally just treat the Nintendo console as the be all end all. The only thing you'd miss out on is one to two big games from PlayStation that don't come to the Switch. But It's funny when you talk about all the Switch guys and PlayStation and PC, they're all getting access to like every game for the most part.
Right.
Because we're going to talk about PlayStation's games that are going to PC day and date. They have a certain amount of those as well. The Xbox guys are the ones, if you only own an Xbox console, like you're really hung out in the breeze. You're missing out. You're not getting Wolverine, Soros. You're not getting Orbitals and Zelda and Donkey Kong.
Right.
Or and then that's a real problem, and I understand that. We'll always talk about that when it comes to.
You want to hear something here? I got some games here. These are the games that are going to Switch 2 that that you're able to buy, whether it's now or whether it's in the future. They got Reanimal, which releases next week, by the way. WWE 2K26, Digimon, Tokyo Scramble. You've got Indiana Jones, Resident Evil, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, these are big titles, dude. And so, like, Monster Hunter Stories 3, that's in there as well. Pragmata, Hollow Knight, the Switch 2 edition. Like, there are a lot of games in there where people are going to be like, now that it's an option, people will consider it, especially when it's something you could take on the go and just say, well, I travel a lot for work. Well, I'm not going to buy that game for Xbox or PlayStation, and I'm really, I'm on the train every day. I'll buy it for the Switch so I can play it on the train on the way to work every day. And so you've opened it up. So, like, just that handful of games I mentioned is already a huge step in the right direction for Nintendo. And again, you're not putting all of those first-party games in one basket, so to speak, right? Because, like I said, what if they don't hit? And you gambled everything on that. Right? Your next 3D Mario, your next Zelda, your next Animal Crossing, your next Kirby. And if they don't hit, look at Metroid Prime 4. They put everything into that. How many years did that game take to make, right? Several years and 2 productions worth. And all of a sudden, the game doesn't hit. If you had nothing else coming out except for those first-party titles, you are effed.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's a smart move.
Well, I mean, Xbox has their own they're putting out so many games, but they don't all sell a whole bunch, but at least they've got more games coming.
But they might sell elsewhere too, though.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, it might sell, like, for example, you take like Indiana Jones. I don't know the numbers for Indiana Jones, but
maybe South of Midnight.
What if it sells great on there? What if South of Midnight gets another 50,000 copies, 100,000 copies sold on a Switch? It might happen. You don't know until it's released, but it might happen. And like, by doing that, you bolster up the the profit that you were making on the game. You could put that back into the budget.
Yep.
You know what I mean? For future projects and whatever else. So it's a no-brainer for them. Yeah. Yeah. Boba Fett, I know Nintendo will be fine. I'm just saying they're expanding. They're expanding like their business model, and I think it's a good thing by having capable hardware that's able to handle these third-party games.
He's talking about momentum too. Mag's talking about a momentum when you get a little slow spot because maybe a game doesn't hit very well, and now your numbers dip, and then a game like Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 9 comes to the Switch, and everything picks back up in speed. I want to talk about a very Nintendo-looking game that got announced that people got super pissed off about. The dislike ratio was 70%. In the dislike era for, like we talked about earlier, I want to call it Forza Horizon Hunters Gathering, the Zero Dawn exclusive. The Horizon Hunters Gathering game, which everyone thought at first, Meg, that this was a spin-off project from a partnered studio that is using Guerrilla's gosh dang it, I always said it again, using the Horizon. Forza Horizon's been around a lot longer than Horizon games. That is using that IP, but the reality is that the Guerrilla team held off on the 3rd iteration of Horizon to make this anime-style MMO multiplayer service-based game that everyone hates. I think the animations look really cool. They're really over-stylized. The graphics are very anime, cartoon-looking. It doesn't really fit the Horizon universe, which is like the best looking visuals you've ever seen and up there in open world games. It's got a very diverse cast of characters, whether they be big, small, light colored, dark colored, quirky or cool looking. No one is happy about this game. And it further magnifies that people are only excited about a game if it's got next level graphics because the gameplay looks like it could be enjoyable. This game doesn't look like it's for me. But Mag, you did a whole reaction, so tell people what the heck is going on with Hunter's Gathering, Bed Bath and Beyond version.
Well, what's his name? The head of the studio there, Beaker from Muppets, when he was talking about it, but he did say, and I'll give him this, in the very first sentence, he wanted to be very clear, which of course most people just ignored, but he did say, our studio focus is, exactly. Our studio focus is still single player experiences. They are already well in development of a Horizon 3, right? This was a project with a small group of people from the team that went off on their own, and there's a support team working with them to do this game. And immediately I'm like, did anybody watch the effing show? Like, did you even hear what the guy said? He literally said, we are still focused on our single player games. This is essentially a side project, a passion project by like a smaller team working on it with a support team. And some people are like, they're making this instead of Horizon 3. And I'm like, did you watch? Is your comprehension
they just watched
that
the trailer
bad?
and then went,
like, people don't like, you know what I mean? People are so. But anyways, whatever. Besides
easily enraged.
Let's ignore all that.
That's the word you're looking for.
Oh, dude, I was so upset. I was just like, what's the matter with you guys? He literally just said it. Yep. Colt, there's a
what?
Don't pick at it. Don't pick at it, but there's something
right
on your forehead. Yeah, a little bit over to the middle. Anyways, so
I think I got it. Go ahead.
You got it. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. When I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I did not expect that, because the opening animation, when I'm doing my reaction video, and the opening animation, I'm like, okay, they're explaining the story in a cartoon, and then all of a sudden went to gameplay, and I'm like, oh,
your
cartoon is the
hilarious.
Game, right? So I was just, and of course I had to point out that the guy, the CEO of the company, colors his beard, and I'm like,
yeah, you go just like I do.
I can tell. Yeah, just like
I know, because I do it too.
So the thing is, yeah, and so like I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, that's the game? And I'm like, okay, because just like you said, what is Horizon known for? They're hyper realistic graphics or whatever else. Anybody who's played Horizon Forbidden West, especially on a PS5 Pro, is like eyeball melting gorgeous and just stunning graphics, and you're looking at like, holy crap. And so like I even thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be one of those like MMORPGs, whatever, where it was in that world. You've already got the world, right? You could have set it in Forbidden West and just had a bunch of people online with like those gorgeous characters, like those rendered characters that were already in the game, and just have them playable. And I thought that that's what it was going to be. And you just wander around like Crimson Desert.
They have to make concessions for multiplayer games. Like, it's the reason why Fallout 76 looks worse than 4. Yeah, they have to make some graphical concessions, but still, it could look fantastic.
Yes, they had a chance to do that, and I'm like, I thought that that's what it was going to be, and I think that that's what a lot of people were also thinking the same thing. Now, I did say this at the end of the video. I'm like, listen, man, this is not my cup of tea. I'm certainly not really all that interested, but I will sign up for the closed beta, which I will have access to, so I will be playing in the closed beta, the first one. And as a result of that, they've done a couple things right. The first thing they did right was multiple betas over time, where the players and the team will be in communication, and they will be taking all the feedback and all that stuff, which is exactly what Highguard did not do. And what I said in the video is like, Highguard's beta test was the day it released, right? And that's not the way you do it when you have a game like that, right? And so they're doing that right. But this is not what I was looking for. Now, there's all kinds of little subsects of this entire reveal that we could talk about. I'm not into those kind of games. I'm not into the sort of like that hero sort of Monster Hunter shooter kind of vibe or whatever. It's not really my thing. And then, of course, there's the other side of it where people are like, oh my God, look at all the characters. It's all woke. They're all fat and this and that. And then no one, everybody has purple hair and this. I'm like, yeah, I get all that too. And, people have those complaints, and some people take it way too far. And I'm like, okay,
they do.
I'm not even worried about that. What I'm worried about is the game itself. So I
got to shoehorn into sidebar.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sidebar.
It's like that whole thing where I look at Hunter's Gathering and I think that's probably not something I'm going to play. I got to add this as well. The reason why Hunter's Gathering looks like the way it does and has the over-exaggerated animations is because that's what the devs wanted to make. I don't think they looked at, they obviously didn't look at a spreadsheet and say, what do people typically like? I guess you could say everyone typically really likes Fortnite, so let's do that. But the developers definitely wanted to, my contact wants to fall out of my eye. The developers really wanted to make that type of game. Almost no one in those comment sections, Mag, on Thursday when that revealed, were saying, this doesn't look like for me, I'm out. Almost everyone was like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Do you have your heads up your A? You guys are so stupid. You deserve to be fired. You're the worst developers ever. Why all the characters look like blankety blank, horrible word, blankety blank? And I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, I can understand that here comes a game from a studio you were waiting to make Killzone or Horizon 3, but do you really think they want to hear people just diarrhea out insults on their art direction, their ability to make a game? It never ceases to amaze me. And then that day, I also had a tweet at the day of the reveal saying that Avowed is coming to the PS5 next week, and I think you're going to, I said something like, I think you're going to realize this is a really cool game with some of the best combat you've never played. And I said the words never played on purpose because for the people who haven't played Avowed, will probably be really surprised because some people played it and thought it was kind of mid. Some people have not played it and think it's mid. I don't care about what they think. But Gothelion, this big streamer, said in the reaction to Horizon Hunter's Gathering, why is the world's first reaction to insult and call people names for liking something that they don't like? It's not a kumbaya moment, but holy crap, guys. Like, these are developers. Like, how are you going to get them to listen if you're cussing and swearing and insulting them? They're just going to block you, and your words will never be heard. That's my TED Talk.
Well, the thing is, at the end of it all, when I'm in the closed beta, the first one, I will play it, and that's what I said at the end of my video. I'm like, listen, man, it's not really my thing or whatever, but I'm still going to explore it, check it out, play it, and I don't know if they're going to allow like a online streaming of the closed betas. Probably not. Maybe the initial ones, no, but maybe after the fact. So I'm going to ask them about that. I'm going to reach out to them and I'm going to say, hey, are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to play that? Ronnie Anderson, you're here and you got to listen to me or not. But hit the like button. He's right. So anyways, the thing is that if I could stream it, that'd be great. They probably won't, maybe not for the first two, but maybe at the third one when they open up the thing and be like, yeah, go ahead, show it out there. Maybe even show off the wares after a few fixes and a few little tweaks and turns and whatever, and they might improve the game and be like, all right, put it out there, and then that's all there is to it, right? So yeah, but I'm gonna reserve all judgment, not all judgment, but a partial judgment until I actually get the game in my hand. Right? And I play it myself, just like High Guard. I didn't really dump on High Guard that hard until the day we played it. And then when the day that we played it, then I was like, all right, this ain't for me. This is not going to work. And then I played it another time. I played a couple of matches and then I deleted it off my hard drive and that was it. And I never touched it again. But I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm just going to say, you could talk and say, listen, my initial thoughts are, and I gave my initial thoughts. I said, my initial thoughts are, this is not for me. This is not something I'm interested in. I'm interested in the Horizon series the way it is, the single player experiences. When Horizon 3 comes out, I will be playing it day one, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but, I feel that I also have a social responsibility that if people are asking about it, I'm going to sit down and play it and then give my proper breakdown and say, okay, here's what I played the game myself instead of talking out of my butt like some people do, and they don't play any games at all. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people you see on YouTube or whatever, they don't play nothing. All right. I'm playing games all the time. You're playing games all the time. So I'm going to sit down. I'm going to try it. I'm going to play it and say, okay, guys, this is what I think about it. But until then, I'm going to let them do their thing. And then I'm going to wait for the invite to the beta. That's all there is to it.
I also want to say, and thank you, Mag. I appreciate your attitude and your willingness to try games. And,
sure.
Horizon Hunter's Gathering, I might not try just because I can look at it and say, oh, it's not for me. And when I was complaining about people, I also want to say, we like to sell things to people, right? If you really like something, you use word of mouth and you try to get your friends to like try something. And then because you want them to say, hey, I tried that game or I watched that movie that you said was great and I really enjoyed it. And you feel like, oh, hey, I did something. I spread the love. I shared something. I got somebody to come to my side of things. And I understand that there are people who treat that currency the same when they see a game like Avowed and I'm going to make sure everyone knows not to play that game because I spent money on it and I didn't like it. And I know they feel like they're doing that, but if it comes with an insult, like when you're insulting someone who's like, I really like Avowed, I'm really enjoying it right now. And someone's like, it's got the most crap combat ever, and you can't even kill the NPCs, and you can't even romance the little furry girl that looks like Gizmo, which you can't.
You know what, Colt? Have you noticed in the year and a half? I'm going to ask a question for you and a question for the chat. The question I'm going to ask you is: have you ever seen me ever talk about Avowed, like in a negative or positive way? No. You know
Starfield.
Why?
Or Starfield.
No, Starfield I played. Starfield I played and I didn't enjoy it, but I played the game and I said, listen, this is
because you gave up on it early and it's the same thing, but go ahead.
I gave up on it early, yes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I have not uttered a word about Avowed since it's been released. Why? Because I haven't gotten around to actually playing it yet. So therefore, I'm not going to fraud myself and say, oh yeah, well, it's kind of crap and this and that, it's not doing well and blah, blah. Or if it's not doing well, that's someone else reporting it and I parrot that. That's different. That's fine. But I'm not talking about the game and I never had. Because I haven't played the game yet. But when I get the game in my hands, eventually, the backlog is ridiculous. Y'all know how that is. When that game gets in my hand, then I can say and be authentic and say, I played it and I loved it, or I played it and I didn't like it, or whatever, right? But until that day, you're not going to hear those words out of my mouth. Now, the thing I was going to ask the chat, this is what I was going to say, is that how many and I want to say content creators, how many like people on Twitter, YouTube, whatever, talk about all these things, and a lot of them, they never even played the damn game.
Most of them.
You know what I mean? And how many even reviewers, they tinker around for a couple hours and they don't even finish the damn game or whatever else, and then they're releasing reviews, and then they don't even and then people catch them because people are eagle-eyed these days. They're like, you could tell this guy actually never finished the game because, when he's talking about it in his review and stuff like that, doesn't get into this and that. So it's very interesting. So like I said, how many people are out there? There's a lot who do not play the games. You know what I mean? And that's something that they could never take away from you and I. You and I are playing games. I mean, you're kind of stuck on Fallout, but you still play all the other games. They come out, you play them, and you're out there. I'm gaming every week, and I live stream on the channel, fresh games all the time, and I'm always online doing something. You might not see me online, but I'm there. You know what I mean? I got 50 achievement points the other day on Xbox, which is funny. You know what I did, by the way? I showed up as myself as online, and only 2 people noticed. They're like, oh, Mag's here. And I'm like, well, I usually am. You just don't see me. I said, but I was on there. And a couple of people said hi. But I got a couple of achievements. I was playing, I'm a sucker, by the way. You know those twin stick sort of isometric, like zombie survival shooters? Those are fun, yeah. The what was it called? Smash TV and stuff. I downloaded a couple of those on Xbox, and I just sit there and listen to a podcast, and I just play them for a couple hours when I just want to get my mind off things. Like when I don't want to be like laser focused on a story, I just want to just shoot stuff, and I'll do that, right? So I was on there, a couple people noticed. But anyways, I will not talk about it until I get my hands on it. And that applies to Hunter's Gathering. I said my piece. I did my reaction to the trailer, not incredibly positive, but I said, but it stops today. The next time I talk about it is once it's in my hand and I'm playing it. And then I'll tell you guys what I think about it.
But anyways, I got to segue into the next game because I already see the comments.
Take over for a second. I got to grab some more water.
Okay. I already see the comments because the news is that I'll go to right here. The news is that Starfield is getting a big reveal next month, according to Shinobi. It could possibly be at State of Play, but I don't think it is because the reveal is supposed to be not in 2 weeks, but maybe closer to 4 weeks. But Starfield's getting its big unveiling onto PS5, the Starfield 2.0. I have a lot to say about this. I probably need to make a video now that I think about it. And I've seen Red Wolf Renegade, who's in the chat, who's already made 2 great videos about this impending release of the next Starfield big update, because there's a lot to say. Before I talk about Starfield, I have to explain how I have not been playing a lot of games, but I've been playing Fallout New Vegas. Like really, really playing it in a way I haven't done in a long time. I am 50 hours into a playthrough, and the game is brilliant. But when people say that Starfield, and I'll probably say this in my video if I make this video, People say that Starfield is boring. There's nothing going on. It's loading screen simulator. Absolutely. There's loading screens everywhere. Now, Fallout New Vegas is 15 years, 18 years, 16 years old, 15 years old, right? And a 16-year-old game has a lot of loading screens because it was on the old creation engine. But when I played New Vegas, I was having an amazing time. The dialogue, the atmosphere and everything was amazing. But I'll tell you what I did for 3 hours straight. Walk, load, walk, loading screen, fast travel, interior, exterior, loading screen, talk, speech check, drop off something, loading screen, fast travel to a place, come back, get the thing, report it back, loading screen, walk, oh, shoot a couple mole rats, oh, shoot a couple fiends. In 3 hours, I probably had 20 to 25 minutes of combat combined. And I was having the time of my life because we put on rose-colored glasses and we think, oh, Bethesda used to be so amazing. When you play Skyrim, walk, loading screen, talk, loading screen. It's absolutely fantastic. Starfield in 2023 should have done more than just that. Mag, let me know if you're back because I'm off of your camera. Okay, I'll come back here. Starfield does a lot of those things, but Starfield is not as engaging and as exciting when it comes to a lot of the dialogue, and some of the stakes aren't as exciting as New Vegas because New Vegas is like peak. But I realized I have more action adventure and more choice and organic gameplay in Starfield than I do in my favorite game in the entire world. This is just how it is. And now I know people are going to hear that and get really mad and think I'm off my rocker, but the people who, they're going to be getting rid of the loading screens, by the way. Many of the loading screens will be removed. They're bringing in Unreal Engine 5 assets or Unreal Engine 5 techniques into, I don't know how he explains it. I'll dive into it for the video, into Creation Engine so that they can have more organic, seamless gameplay in Starfield. But the people who tell you that Starfield is boring because all you do is walk, they forgot that's exactly what you do. People who bash Fallout 4 don't realize that Fallout 4 had more power to the punch ratio of exploration, combat, loot, combat, exploration, combat, loot over and over in such a compact area, and they call that game mid. It blows my mind. Here's what's going to happen. Starfield is going to launch on the PS5, and it is slightly going to raise the Metacritic of that game for many reasons. One, they are going to get a more cultivated, fully featured version of the game. Here's my other hot take. People say it'll never be, I hope you're still here, Red. Put the crap on the flap with the Starfield rap, he says, yeah. People say there's no way that Starfield's going to get its Cyberpunk 2.0 moment. Are you ready for this hot diarrhea of a take? Cyberpunk at launch, if you were on a Series X or PS5 or PC, Cyberpunk at launch in 2020 was absolutely phenomenal. And the changes that they made was rearranging the skill tree, which I'm like, I was fine with the way the skill tree was. And they removed a bunch of bugs. Cyberpunk was already a great game. So if you think that Starfield is still a great game, when people say it's mid or it's below mid, don't be brain dead. It is an 85 on OpenCritic. That some of the users have bashed on it because they have realized over time it needed to do more modern things. If you watched Red Wolf and my content we've collaborated on our own channels, we'll tell you just as much that there are loading screen problems, there are issues with reoccurring locations, and they need to have more organic gameplay and better pacing. We've said all that. Everyone knows that. But Starfield is a great game. Is it the game of the generation? Absolutely not. It is the best game I've ever played? No way. Have I put 800 hours in Starfield? I don't want to say that. But what is going to happen is it's going to launch on the PS5. People are going to realize this game is better than they thought. It's not going to change the world. They're going to get a fully featured game that everyone knows Starfield only, but right, Red? People only know Starfield as the 2023 version, which you should be. You should be judged by your release of your game that you charge $70 for day one, Xbox Air Podcast, on day one. That's what you should be judged with. But over the years, they have added the rover and all kinds of, they added this dynamic 3D map. It's amazing. They've done all these things. So PlayStation fans are going to get the definitive, true version of Starfield that we've all been enjoying for hours and hours and years. And I already see a smooth brain in the chat. Negan's like, it's not a great game, Colt. It's an okay game. Dude, are you listening to me? Just right at the end of your statement, to me, it's just an okay game because the majority don't agree with you. The majority says it's an 85. And I'm so tired. And I'm not just going to defend Starfield because I like the game. I don't love the game to death. I really like it. I really like it, just like I really like Avowed. It needs to be better. And I think it's going to be better when it launches on PS5. I think there's going to be a little bit of a change of the way people look at the game. And then there's going to be millions of people who just complain about it that, won't even play it.
I'm going to give it another. If they do this Starfield, I know that it's not called Starfield 2.0, but if they actually do something in the vein of that, like we were saying with all the updates and all that stuff, I will sit down and give it another shot. But my first experience with it was not a good one. I didn't enjoy it. I was just like, I felt me personally, I felt like I was playing an RPG from 2010. That's just the way it felt like to me in the loading screens and stuff and this and that. And I played it very early on. Actually, I played it launch day, I believe. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm just not getting into this. And after about the 4 or 5 hour mark, I guess I just don't remember. But like, I remember that the after about 4 or 5 hours, and I'm like, I'm going to put this down and let me, go do something else or whatever. And I'll come back to it. And the thing is, I never went back.
But I never hear you going ad nauseum about that game.
No, God, no. I just saying it wasn't for me. And not everything will be like that. Like I said, you could have the greatest movies ever made, and you could sit down and say, okay, yeah, guys, we're going to go to the movie theater. We're going to watch a re-release of Goodfellas. There could be 100 people in that theater. You'll still have 2 people saying, I didn't like it. Right? And then 98 can say they love it or whatever, right? But that's fine. That's just the way it is. It just wasn't for me. But if they do these quality of life things and it all gets released on this PS5 version or whatever else, I'll give it another go because you never know. You never know. But I'm not going to shut the door on anything. I'm not going to shut the door on anything just yet. And then, this all ties into the other conversation we just had. Like, for example, I was on the fence. Not only did I play the Pragmata demo, and now that, by the way, I'm sold on that game. I'm going to buy the game now. So I'm actually got sold on the game from the demo. I'm like, this is actually really good. The hacking thing with the little girl on your back, like the little android and stuff, wasn't as egregious as I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, oh, I get it. This is pretty cool. And I'm like, this game is pretty fun. I'm going to play that. Now, another one I tried because I was thinking about buying it because I heard it got great reviews was Neo 3. So I said, let me download the demo for Neo 3. And I sat down and I played the whole demo. I didn't like it. But at least I sat down and gave the damn thing a try. I said, I'm not enjoying this. And I didn't enjoy it. I was just like, this feels kind of rudimentary. It didn't feel great. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But the Starfield thing, they're changing it. Not changing the fundamentals of the game, but they're changing quality of life stuff.
Yeah, they've had a couple of big updates. And see, I don't do that. Like, Meg and I are very similar, but I won't even, sometimes if I'm not really excited about a game, I might not even play the demo or even give it a try, but I just won't really bring it up. If somebody asks me, I'll say, I don't know, I never played it. It just didn't look like it was for me, because that's really where it ends. There are so many games out there, and there are people who have hundreds of hours in Starfield and that really have
like look at you and I. Like, are you and I going to stop talking because you put in hundreds of hours, I put in 5? And I'm like, I couldn't get into it. You're like, I love this. And I'm like, that's cool. And that's totally cool. And like, but people losing their minds about it. I'm like, listen, man, if it's not for you, it's fine. Just move on. Just move on. Just leave it. Just leave it behind you and be like, this really wasn't for me. But like, I think the reason why it keeps coming up is because not only they keep talking about it, or it keeps coming up in conversations, it keeps coming up in the news cycles, and now it's going to be re-released on the PlayStation 5. Right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, apparently not with the Switch. I don't know. I kept hearing that the Switch version was running very well. And, but anyways, who the hell knows?
Yeah, anymore, I wanted to say like an hour ago that the report is there's no Switch 2 version of Starfield, but I can totally see it being in the announcement when Bethesda comes out. I think they're probably going to have they're probably not going to be a state of play. They're probably going to have like their developer update that goes on Twitter and their YouTube channel. It'll be like 6 minutes with Todd and Tim Lamb with the visor on. And for people who are fans of the game, like they're going to get changes they've been waiting for. And so if you're on the fence about Starfield, what's that?
The port exists, but it may not release.
Oh, maybe they'll delay it, but maybe they'll just say they're working on the Switch version.
Yeah,
but,
the most common thing is that it's saying that it's been pushed out for Nintendo Switch 2.
Okay,
but it does exist. So they were working on a port, but it may not release, or it may be delayed, or who knows. Anyway,
Negan in the chat says, Negan in the chat says we need to stop using the word great. I would hate to be so miserable in this hobby that I can't look at a good game or a great game and say those words. I would hate for people to be so gatekeeping of people saying that they think a game is great, that you want to stop that. I couldn't imagine that. He said that great games should be for above an 8 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 is near flawless. I don't think any person who's actually reviewed games would agree with you, because Starfield is an 85, I think, on OpenCritic, an 87 on Xbox. So OpenCritic covers all the platforms. Like, Starfield is above what you say is a good game. It's a great game. In fact, if I go to Starfield on OpenCritic, I don't even know why I have to say this, but I like to educate people who have not sat and done their research forever. Critics recommend it at 83%. It is called a mighty, which is one step below the highest rating on OpenCritic. Like if you go to God of War Ragnarok, let's just go to God of War. It is also a mighty game on Metacritic at a 94. So there's only one. I can't remember what they call something that's 100. What would that be? Like Astrobot wasn't even that high. Great game. But hold on. It's also a mighty. What was the highest rated game in a long time? Like a 96? What would it be? Elden Ring? Mag, what do you remember was the highest rated game?
There was something that was a 97. Oh, I mean, I'm going back to like Red Dead Redemption 2 was 97 on Metacritic.
There you go. Let me look real quick. Red Dead Redemption 2.
That was like 8 years ago.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 95 and it's considered mighty.
Oh, 95.
But okay. Fonz in the chat says it really great. It's all a matter of opinion. Like if you don't like
it's Starfield, just opinions at the end of the day.
Yeah, for me, I don't think it's a great game. Like Fonz, he played 5 or 6 hours of Avowed. He says, I don't think it's a great game. He says, I think it's dog crap. It's not for me. And he says that. But like if someone's saying they enjoy a game, you can say, man, it wasn't for me, but I didn't think it was that good. But it like I said earlier, people like to sell you whether they like a game or not. They want you to turn to their side. And if you know you're on the internet, you'll never get somebody to change their mind. Hit the like button if we didn't change your mind tonight. We appreciate you. And people just keep saying Starfield's okay. Fallout 4 is awesome. I love Fallout 4. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's everyone has their own opinion on games, and I think there will be a little bit of an opinion shift when Starfield comes out on the PS5. So yeah, it'll be great. Let's talk about
to see how that all turns out.
Yeah, I mean, when I said the Cyberpunk 2.0 moment, like I really truly believe I fully played the game at launch, and then I fully played it when it got its 2.0, and the story's the same. The UI is like, for me, it's like, it didn't really change that much. It wasn't like a world changing update. And I just don't remember encountering that many bugs. Like maybe occasionally a pedestrian would be like, their knees would be under the sidewalk. And I'm like, oh, open world game stuff. I didn't have any game breaking bugs. So I wasn't one of those guys crying about how Cyberpunk felt on a Series X at launch, because that experience was pretty good, but the game was just so amazing. So I think that the 2.0 moment for Starfield is really akin to how much better was Cyberpunk when it releases 2.0. For me, someone who loved it in the beginning, I was like, it's just a great game again, just cleaned up. And I think that's where Starfield will be. If you think it is, it'll be a cleaned up version of that with some, getting rid of loading screen is going to change a lot of people's minds because they couldn't get over that. I didn't even bring it up in my review, Mag, because loading screens were like 3 seconds. They were all the time, but it was like loading screen, black picture with a thing, and it was gone, and I was in the world. I never really thought, well, how are you going to seamlessly go from planet to planet without a loading screen? I mean, you can do it. I talked about this. I'll end right here. You can do it in No Man's Sky. It's organic. It's amazing. But after a while, it's like, hold the button. And then there's those 3 seconds of going into the atmosphere. I'm going to paint it for you. You fly in and it transitions. You can see the ground and you're like flying into this new planet. It's amazing. It's like, that was so cool, but those 3 seconds are over. But I don't know if they're going to do that. So let's talk about Xbox Magnus, OEM, Xbox Handheld. We talked about this last week, but there is a ton to cover. And Jez Corden did an entire write-up about Xbox's near future and a year beyond, Mag. And I'm like, we're not insiders, but I was like, Jez, everybody is talking about this, but I think he's putting his weight behind it. Like, I'm willing to put my reputation on this information that you and I've covered because everyone else has. Hip Hop Gamer publicly called out Jez and said he owes him an apology because Hip Hop Gamer said he broke that Xbox would have an OEM console back in January of 2024. I don't know if I don't know how that all came down. I didn't hear it from Hip Hop Gamer. You didn't hear it from Hip Hop Gamer. I wasn't an insider, and I'm still not. But Meg, let's dive into this, and I'll let you start because I would just go off, and you'd never be able to talk again.
What would you like to know, my friend?
Let's start from the smallest, because you and I can kind of argue about what we're hearing. What's the smallest thing that is coming from Xbox in the near future, or not coming?
Or not coming? And you talk about smallest in terms of size?
Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about the handheld. The handheld keeps coming up in conversation. I heard it was canceled. It was not canceled. Excuse me. It was not greenlit. And now this was an internal one being made by them themselves, not a third-party machine, not an OEM or whatever else. This was something that was supposed to come from within, and it was not greenlit for financial reasons. But the Magnus was greenlit. So they had a choice. That's what I was. Well, we talked about that last week.
Time out. We got to address. We had talked about the possibilities about a year ago that we don't think are coming true at all. At least I don't think so. The Surface team. Can you tell people what you and I kind of report on last year? That was something that
was something in the works like 3 years ago. What they were working on different things when they're going through the R&D works or whatever. The Surface team was supposed to be working on some kind of a smaller handheld hybrid, something that you could dock, very similar to like a Switch kind of deal. That was something that was being toyed around for a while, something being working. And then listen, they work on 1,000 prototypes of 1,000 different things before they come down to the actual final product of what it is, right? So it's technically, it was there. It was not approved, whatever. It happens every single day. Like, think about a video game. How many video games get actually released? How many get turned down? Even when they're even when they're already developing them, they're doing storyboards and all kinds of stuff, and they're doing 3D renderings and this and that, and then they can them, right? They're like, no,
I thought it was a cool idea.
Shut down these 9 games. We're gonna greenlight this one game. 9 of them get canceled. That's just the way it goes. Same with hardware.
I think it might have. Sorry. I think it might. I thought it was a cool idea. Like, Mag didn't really spell it out, but the Surface team working on a Surface / Xbox console hybrid system,
right?
Which probably evolved into where we're at now, because I have a video of a close-up of a Surface Pro, and I made it look like a console by manipulating the video. But it's funny that Mag reported on that about a year and a half ago, and now it's probably morphed into the team building this more PC-like console, which we'll talk about. Right. So as far as the handheld, I will interject and say that when I talk to people that say they're insiders, because I'm not one, they said that the handheld has just been delayed, that they want to make one, and that Xbox is still like,
internally?
we want to make the handheld. We needed to get this is going to sound really crappy, but I mean, are you surprised when it's Xbox? They wanted to have the handheld in the works, but they decided to guinea pig the full screen experience and the handheld experience, which is pretty hit or miss on the Xbox ROG Ally X, because Jen from Windows Central, just reported that she had to return hers. There's a high failure rate on the Xbox ROG Ally X's. Red Wolf had to do a whole bunch of like factory restarts on his. Mine hasn't had any problems, but they're not super reliable. And I can almost hear Phil Spencer saying, would you ship that? Like he said with xCloud, because it's kind of undercooked. But let me end this and let you take back over.
All right.
I think Xbox wants to make their handheld, but they're using the Xbox ROG Ally as their guinea pig, and they're pricking that thing so that they can have their handheld come out in a better state, which I think is pretty crappy, honestly, for $1,000. Super.
Or they're just watching to see like what kind of a reception it gets as well, right?
Yep.
And not having the full responsibility of making it in house, and that's why I heard that Amy who and somebody else did not give the green light on it. Yeah, Amy Hood and somebody else did not give the green light on that. And so they went ahead with the ROG Xbox Ally and the Ally X and whatever else, blah, blah, blah. But they weren't given the green light on the Magnus. So I'm like, okay, you could do that. But the other thing is too, again, there's stipulations involved in that. The stipulations are we're not losing money on it. And you do whatever you're going to do with it, make it as powerful as you want, whatever. And it's going to appease a very small percentage of people, especially at the price points and whatever else, right? Yep. But it doesn't really make a difference because at the end of the day, as we had spoken about it a million times before, is that the series consoles will be supported for several years. And a lot of people are just not going to upgrade. They're just going to stay on there. They could use it for cloud. They can use it for, actually just use it directly, or they can even use it as an access point for cloud if they don't have like, smart TV or fancy monitors and all that kind of stuff. You could do all that too. Then, of course, you can look at it and you're seeing like articles coming out saying like Microsoft apparently expects, quote, the Xbox Series era to last despite next-gen plans. Well, yeah. And the funny thing is, the first thing I saw in that article, I think that was from purexbox.com or whatever. And I was looking at it, and I'm just like, well, yeah, it makes sense. And what is the first thing they brought up? They said the reason why a lot of people are going to stick with the older hardware is because of the price point of what the Magnus is most likely going to be. And again, it was already spelled out to us pretty clear when Sarah Bond said this is going to be a high-end boutique experience, curated experience. As soon as you say that, dude, that's $2,000 and above my money, not your money. You know what I mean? So like I said, we heard the internal projections is $1,200 and $1,500 is the window, but who knows? It might be more, might be less. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see when that actually comes out. But the point is, a lot of people, no matter what they say, there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to get it." And then when it comes down to that moment where you have to plunk down that money, a lot of money, people will be like, "You know what? I'm actually okay for now. The games are running fine. I have a Series X, or I'm using the cloud, or whatever you're doing, a Series S. Never mind PC players. If you're on a PC and you're already PC, you already got a Magnus in your house. You don't need to buy another one. You already got it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might get one because you have a channel that you do. They might send you one, probably send you one, and be like, "Here, Colt, here's a Magnus. Review it, talk about it in the channel, this and that, or whatever the hell, right?" But if you are just a consumer and you've got a 5090, am I correct? The
4080 Super. So I'm like a couple steps down. But.
Oh shit! I thought you had a 5000. Never mind. Okay,
4080 Super is pretty good, man.
Right. Okay. So the thing is, are you going to get if you were just a consumer and you have a very capable PC, it's kind of redundant. You're buying the same product essentially. You can access Steam, you can access your Xbox, you can access your Game Pass, whatever the hell else you want to get, your third-party games, you already have it in your house. So you're attracting a different.
That dashboard's probably going to come over to my PC by then. I want to talk about. I don't do a very good job of spelling this out in my videos. I want to talk about the OEM thing because it's kind of hard to describe because it's like a conceptual thing. But basically, the rumor is that by the end of this year in 2026, Xbox will have an OEM console. And the best way to describe it is...
Oh, yeah, I keep hearing that too. What the hell is that all about?
The best way to describe it, Mag, is a Microsoft Steam machine. So, or Destin and Paris have great channels. Go check their stuff out. And subscribe to the Mag Show. The best way to describe it would be
Maverick.
The best way to describe the OEM console would be an Xbox ROG Ally X in a big box with way more power that you plug into your monitor or TV and controller, right? So it's a Steam machine. it can't play every Xbox game because it only does the play anywhere and then every PC game. So a company like Asus with their ROG gaming division would make they already have a Asus ROG mini console PC that's about as big as a Series S, but it's like $2,000. It's kind of it's a rectangular prism with some angles on it, and it says ROG with that like scary logo, and it's super expensive, and it's got high-end AMD hardware in it, and it's a PC. And nobody really buys these because this is a thing that's about to happen when the Steam Machine launches this summer or this spring. But ROG, maybe even Razer or Samsung or Lenovo, anybody that makes gaming laptops are going to be partnering with Xbox to take the Magnus chip, which will probably be available to them before Xbox releases their own PC console. This is what the OEM console is, that they will take the Magnus chip that's been cultivated by AMD and Microsoft and Xbox, put it in the box, put all the rest of their components in it, build this box that you can set on your desk or your entertainment center, plug in your HDMI, and play all of your PC games and the Xbox PC app and Steam and everything on it. So
can I?
The last thing I'll say is Xbox may help announce this year during the 25th anniversary celebration. And everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the Xbox Magnus.
So
but it's not.
It's not.
But there's another major concern that I'm going to address after you ask me your question. So go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask you because some people in the chat are saying, well, you know, some of these like these PCs or maybe even like a Magnus or whatever, not Magnus, but like ROG, like you won't be able to access all your Xbox games. I'm like, okay, but does it have Game Pass? My question is, would it have Game Pass?
Yeah,
and if it does have Game Pass, doesn't that cover like pretty much 99.9% of their games anyway that you'd be playing for? Like, how often are you going that far back beyond Game Pass that you're going to play a 2016 game or a 2015 game? Like, how often does that happen? It's got to be such a small minority, and I would imagine they have the metrics because they know who's logging into the games and not, and how many
how many people are playing Bulletstorm.
7 people.
Yeah.
If it's 7 people, you're no longer relevant to the conversation. They're looking forward and saying, listen, man, you're going to lose access to that stuff, but it's either that's the way of the future or not. Like, for example, you know, look at like even like CD players. How many people have CD players hanging around? How many? Right? I know people in the chat are going to be like, well, I have one. Sure, you might, but you don't even represent 5%. You won't even represent 5% of the, and they're looking at the big numbers. They're looking at that. So I'm thinking that if they have access to Game Pass, they will continue to do that. And then, you know, because I see some people talking about it like, oh, you can't access all your Xbox games and this and that. I'm like, but are you really playing all those games?
Here's
or
how
even the
connects
physical
to that.
ones.
Here's how that connects to the major concern. Meg's right. If it plays PC Game Pass, you're talking 500 games that you had access to on your Xbox Series console. It also has 1,000 games that you have access to on your Xbox Series console. But is it going to play your copy of, well, I was going to say, would it play your copy of Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Yeah, because that's Play Anywhere. But is it going to play some of your games that you bought on the console 10 years ago or 3 years ago? Like if you bought Evil West? No, it's not. But there's a strong rumor that Xbox and Jason Ronald's team are pushing super hard to break the boundary of a license and entitlement on your games. Get this. Xbox is pushing the boundary. If ROG makes a Steam machine and has the Xbox Magnus in the chip in that box, Xbox is pushing hard with licensee ownership to say, this is an Xbox. Don't give me your bull crap. This is an Xbox console. So those guys get access to every game they purchased on this device. And if Xbox can do this, they will break open the bullcrap we've been dealing with for 50 years in gaming, where you buy a game and it is lost away when you upgrade your console, or it's lost away because you want to play it somewhere else. Xbox will literally pave the path for people to buy a game from any studio or publisher in the mainstream in the near future and say, I bought that, I could play that on my PS6, I could play that on PC, and my save and my entitlement go with me. This is a really difficult road that Xbox's multi-platform push is going to benefit gamers around the entire globe. I don't know if they're going to be able to do this, but I've heard this is something they've been working on for a couple of years, and they're not giving up until they can find some sort of solution. But for right now, if there are going to be an OEM console from Lenovo or Asus ROG, and it looks like a Steam machine, but it's not made by Xbox, expect it to have access to the games that that thing has, because it will not have access to all of your console games unless you're on the cloud. But they are not giving up on that situation. The other concern is when this thing gets announced, people are like, here's what's going to happen, Mag. If Xbox gets in front of their 25th anniversary and say, we're excited to partner with great partners like Lenovo and Asus, who are making their own PC console hybrids that are coming out this year, and you can play Xbox games and PC games on it, and then they'll have to have that little ticker at the bottom that says it doesn't play all your games. But people are going to be like, oh my gosh, they went multi-platform, third party on their hardware. They're not doing their console. Well, here comes the announcement that AMD and Lisa Su have already revealed and confirmed that they are set to launch with Xbox first party in 2027, a year after this OEM. That's a lot to explain. This is
I
why
got a
I made
couple
so many
things here.
videos.
Yeah. Nighthawk is asking in the chat what OEM stands for. OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. So I hope that helps clear that up.
Thank you.
Another thing is Mr. Little Evil. How you doing, buddy? And he says, I got 400 to 500 games on disc and another 1,200 digital, but I'm not going to have those discs be worthless. I get it. But I think there's going to come a point where if they stop making things with discs or whatever else, and they're trying to push you towards that digital future, you're going to have to hang on to that hardware. And you're going to have to take care of it. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to be able to utilize, like you know what I mean? So you're going to have to take care of that hardware and keep it there. And I understand, like, look at, for example, like you can have a Super Nintendo and you can have 1,000 Super Nintendo games on cartridge. The only way you're going to be able to play that is if you have that original Super Nintendo console and you have to slam the cartridge in there.
Well,
or whatever.
Nintendo makes you pay. Nintendo makes
that
you
may
pay.
Be an unfortunate part of the future. And I'm not saying it's good, and I'm not condoning it, and I'm certainly not behind it. I'm just saying that is a future that they're pushing towards. That's why, like I was saying, when eventually they want to get to the point of you will pay and you will own nothing and you will love it. And that's exactly what they want in the end. They want you to do that, and they're already doing it. They're doing it with movies. They're doing it with TV. They're doing it with music. Okay? Spotify. If Spotify disappears tomorrow, my entire music catalog has disappeared because all my tapes, my CDs, my LPs are all gone in the wind over the years, over the decades. God knows where the hell they are now and whatever else, right? And what ends up happening? Now I'm paying a subscription service for Spotify and I own nothing. And if that decided to go away, I have no music. Same thing's going to happen with video games. That's what they want. They want to angle everybody in that direction, and they will give you access to the stuff that you already purchased because they don't want the headaches of having more bad PR. I get all that. And I mean,
why do they want
the thing
that?
Is,
like, I know they're not selling you CD players anymore, but I mean, I think the residual revenue stream of having you pay every month is just so good for them. Yeah.
Because if I buy one album, I don't have to pay somebody monthly to keep listening to it.
Yeah,
I own it. I bought it one time. If I got my Run DMC Tougher Than Leather, best album ever, my Run DMC Tougher Than Leather album, which I bought in grade 8, I still have it somewhere. I don't know where the hell it is. Probably my parents' house. But I only bought it once, right? But they don't want that because that's not a business model that's going to keep feeding them and feeding them and feeding them and feeding them your money. And you don't even realize how many thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars you're paying them for the same crap you were listening to 10 years ago. And that's what they want. But anyway, I have another question for you.
But hold on.
Do you not find that it's going to get sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't own my music, but I can be in my car driving and a thought can come to my head and I can say, hey, play Gerardo Rico Suave. And I get to I don't do that. I can say, I want it that way by the Backstreet Boys.
Yes, you do.
Informa.
I met him, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, because he's Canadian, right? He's from Toronto.
Dream away.
He was in a bar. He was at the bar of a restaurant that I was the chef in, and I went up to the bar and I was drinking, and he's sitting like right there, and I'm like, oh my god, that's snow, and he was drinking cranberry juice, and I'm like, what's with the cranberry juice? And someone else told me that like he just got out of rehab. Like he just got out of rehab for alcohol and drug abuse. So like he was just sitting at the bar drinking cranberry juice.
So you poured some of your vodka into his. some of your whiskey into his.
I left him alone. I said hi though, but anyways. But I know I get what you're saying. But like, the
Did you
thing
lick
is,
his boom
you do
boom
have.
now?
No, I did not. Luckily, but you know what I mean. Like, that's. I have a question about the hardware situation. If they decide to do something else, like another partnership in the fall of this year, 2026. Like, at what point does it get to a point? I'm like, do they feel like they're just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks hardware wise?
Oh,
I mean,
think
you
they
just
are.
released
I
a
think they
Series
are.
X and S 5 years ago. Yeah, it was 5 years, not 6. 5 years ago. You've got the ROG Xbox Ally X, the ROG Ally, that's 3. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, they launch this thing, that's 4. Then all of a sudden, next year, they launch a Magnus, that's 5. What, for God's sake, what are we doing here? You know, the Meta headphone, remember the Meta VR? They had the Xbox one. And I'm like, it's kind of cool that you have access to your stuff, but how much stuff are you going to
Well, there's overlap. There's overlap, but I think that...
I'm just asking. It just seems like a lot of hardware.
They're
like,
trying
just
to
release the Magnus, and my God. But they even admitted themselves, Colt, that they said that the series consoles are going to be there for a very long time because they're openly admitting that people are not going to adopt right away, and they're going to keep those consoles for several years.
And the Nintendo Switch 2 will help solidify the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles to be supported on most mainstream games, because that is now the standard of games look amazing on the PS4 and Xbox One. Like, they look amazing now. Like, what are we doing
amazing
here?
now. Yeah. What?
Like, the best games don't push the levels of what can be done on hardware. Red Dead Redemption 2 just looks amazing because they made a near perfect game. So I used to always say, like, what are you looking for? Red Dead Redemption 2 is like one of the best looking games ever made. It was made to run on a VCR Xbox One. So, and beyond. It's great.
Charles Darwin, Magnus is the code name for the product. It's kind of like when they had Scorpio for the what was it, for the 1X or whatever? It was called the Scorpio, Project Scorpio. Was that the 1X?
Magnus is the code name for AMD's chipset working with Xbox. So the chipset, which I show in my videos, that Moore's Law has got all of the specs, almost all of the specs for it. The Magnus is AMD's code name. Jez Corden of Windows Central believes that that is not the code name for the Xbox console. A lot of people are saying Xbox Prime was a name that's gone out. The code name won't matter, but it'll be revealed eventually. But I think it's something closer to Xbox Prime. It's not Magnus. Magnus is AMD's code name. So it's kind of hard for me to believe.
Charles Darwin has the best name for it. It didn't show up because
because it was a little too much. Let me grab these supers. Neil Guswab, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says, Colt Mag, the duo is unmatched. Love the chats and all the topics discussed on both shows. I wish you both would do live shows every night, 100%. That's awesome.
Can you imagine you and I have to stare at each other's face 7 nights a week? My God, we'd kill each other after a month.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I need to do more content. Mag does way more content than I do, and I saw one of my favorite YouTubers start up a third channel. I'm like, should I be doing? No, I'm actually really, really happy. Thank you guys so much. Tonight I had 186,000 subscribers. Hey. I really appreciate you guys. The channel's doing great. Everyone always says Xbox dead, give it up, do something new, but things are up because people are excited. And the reason why we bring up the OEM thing and not Xbox's first party thing first is because Xbox is growing and diversifying and making more games. Like, we know the games that are, there's like 8 games still left over that they have yet to release that have been revealed. And then they say they have 40 games in the project. So there's like 30 that won't get canceled, right? So there's big things happening, and I'm continuing to cover studios, tech, hardware, games, reveals, and it's been fantastic. Red Wolf Renegade, thank you so much for the 2, says, chat, there's 500 watching and 200 likes. We've been rambling so much. Yeah, we do have 500. We appreciate you guys. Do hit the like button. It shows YouTube that you care and sends us flowers. Oh, thank you. Chris R55, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, I don't think it's right to insult the developers, but with how slow Sony is releasing first-party content this gen, I can understand being unenthused by another Horizon project. I'd prefer other IPs. PlayStation's done an amazing job. One thing they have not done an amazing job this generation is giving you and us new IPs. They have been remastering and sequelizing and games as a serviceizing their games. And I was going to say it's way earlier in the show, Mag, but I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation says nothing and doesn't cancel Fair Games. They just never talk of it again. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, just like actually, you're the first person who said that name in probably months. It just disappeared.
I mean, can you do that? I just feel like,
of course you can. Would you Why not? Just
Let
stop
me ask
talking.
your opinion.
No, just stop talking. No, not
would
you.
You do
not
that?
You. I mean, if I was Sony, I would just stop talking. You're absolutely right. You're the only person who's mentioned anything about that. I haven't heard that name since December. And you know what? With all the games and all the big stuff coming up and everything else and all the awesomeness and whatever, people are not even going to care. They're going to be like, what happened to that game? Oh, well, whatever. Anyways, back to GTA 6. You know what I mean?
If they have to close the studio, Jade Raymond was running it, she left. So everyone's like, what the crap's going to happen to the studio? I think PlayStation's doing the right thing. Head down, work on the game. Don't say anything about it because it's just going to give people a platform to bash until they actually get to see it, because we haven't seen gameplay. But if it's in major trouble,
on top of that, look at they showed the Hunter's Gathering and people are losing their minds. So like imagine just throwing another one in the mix. It'd probably be just quietly go away, just continue on, focus on Wolverine. They got Phantom Blade Zero. You know that GTA 6 is going to be a monster game for them. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4. PlayStation's fine. I would just keep just not talking about it. I would just go away. And like the thing is, like I said, we do this every day, Colt. You and I do this every day. We're researching, we're looking at stuff, we're talking to people, we're on the phone, we're making videos, content, live shows. We're doing this all the time, and I have not heard the damn words fair play since probably in months, and you're the first person to mention it. Yeah. So it has literally disappeared from the zeitgeist of conversation. And I bet you there's a lot of people in the chat who are probably thinking the same thing going, oh, yeah, I forgot that was a thing. What happened to that? And you know what? I would just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Just let it go. Just let it quietly disappear. No one will even remember it, and that's all there is to it.
Yep.
That's it. That's what I would do. I would just walk away.
Somebody in the chat wrote Fair Games, and that's what reminded me, because I don't think about it, Andy Hart.
I forgot it even existed.
Yeah, and it might not, but hey, hopefully it's good. Andy Hart, thank you so much for the £5 super. Says, have you tried the Neo 3 demo? It's looking beautiful, but combat was not the easiest. Hard learning curve. Oh, also, what a breath of fresh air. The Speedball remake. I want to play Neo, but everyone just tells me it's so difficult, and I'm like Elden Ring was.
I did not enjoy it. I played the Neo 3 demo. I played it. I did not like it.
Okay.
It was not for me. I was just like, nah, I'm not vibing this. It just didn't vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like I was playing, I'm like, if it like in the first hour of the demo, it already felt like a chore. Imagine playing the whole game now. Now the game is scoring incredibly well, so I got to give it that. People love it, and it's also scoring really well. I think the Metacritic is really high, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look right now.
Really
they
do
quickly.
well.
Neo.
People love the other two.
Neo 3 Metacritic.
And I had Neo 2 on my wish
sitting at an
list.
86.
See? You know what? It depends.
86 Metacritic.
Anything under an 86 is considered mid as F. Did you see that Super Bowl commercial where the guy was like, meh, 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 meh? I'm like, people don't use the word meh anymore. M-E-H? I'm like, how can
some people do?
Most people just say mid. It's mid and slop. No one uses meh anymore. And I'm old.
Yeah, it's well, either way, I tried it. I actually played it. I put it in my hands before I said anything, and it just didn't vibe with me.
Mag is our research guinea pig. Andy Hart also
man,
says,
I try games, dude. I try the games, man. I put them in my hands before I say anything. I'm not going to be one of those guys, man.
You do, and you like games I don't, and I like games that you don't, and we still hate each other.
Of course.
Andy Hart, thanks for the £2 super, says, will Xbox get a Starfield update now that it's going to PS5? Well, yeah. Everyone's getting the update.
It's going to everybody, yes.
Yeah, that goes without saying, I thought. Neil Gushwa, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you guys for your support. We appreciate you. He says, after 1,000 hours of playtime for you, Cole, I'll definitely take your word for it. It was under 1,000.
Don't listen to him. He's lying. He's deceiving you.
Yeah, it wasn't that much. But yeah, everything is slop according to everybody. Yeah, Fonz goes slop box. Yeah, everything is slop according to everyone. I made a joke that 98 of the games are mid slop and 2 of them are overrated trash. Like that's how the world is, right? I think it's especially on social media, everything has to be too super exaggerated. So most games are crap and the rest are overrated. They're too good to be true. Yeah, it's so funny. Cheeks, as Yodani Quezada would say, it was an amazing moderator and friend. And I noticed tonight that moderators have a blue shield instead of a blue wrench. YouTube's being cheeky as usual,
Oh, they're
changing
doing
things
something
up.
weird, eh? Look at that.
Yeah, I didn't notice that before.
What's going on? Well, it's probably
going
it's
on
the
that, eh?
AI constantly messing around with YouTube, like just changing random things here and there. You
Yeah.
know, remember when they did the numbers next to people's names? I'm like, oh, there's that. What the hell's this now? Now there's shields. What's next? Swords?
There should be a sword, in front of it. Yeah, Yodani says that's because we are the simps for you, Colt Mag, and we defend you behind our shields. Yeah, Fawn says we need to change the shield to green. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a video about Starfield, but I feel like my rant tonight was just overly ridiculously too much bull crap, and now I don't want to. And I do feel like I'm like saying, if you don't like the game, you're wrong. But I'm just like, I don't know. It's hard to say because the game has a high score. So just say it's not for me. I didn't think it was good. But like I said, everyone's like, they want to sell everybody on their idea. Whether they love it, I want you to love it. If I didn't like it, I want you to understand why I don't like it and don't like it as well, so we can have common ground. And I should probably just relax on that. Yeah. And you have my ox. Or you do it better.
And my ox. Yeah. I don't have the voice tonight. My voice is a little froggy tonight. Not sick, just froggy.
Just froggy?
Froggy.
Nikki says, so is Fallout 76. I'm sure you mean an amazing, great game. Now, it's got flaws, but I still love it. Mag, that was a great show. We're 15 minutes over. We're going to get out of here and let everyone have the rest of their night.
All right.
I love you guys. Mag, you're handsome. I love you. You're great. Thank you for being such a great co-host, man. Thank you for working your butt off for this community, streaming, making content, making shorts, cooking, walking out in your dress, in the snow for the people. Bro, you're a great dude. I love you. Tell everybody
Thank you so much,
what
man.
to watch for you this week, and we'll get the F out.
Well, got Magcast tomorrow night, and I don't have hair on my body. Game adaptation. He said Mag's hairy ass feet. I don't have hair on my body. I'm the weirdest Italian ever.
Wait,
no
what
hair.
about your feet? You said feet.
No, my feet? I don't have hair on my feet. Why would I have hair on my feet? It's crazy talk. Anyway,
Proud feet.
We got Magcast tomorrow night. Yeah, and my feet. Yeah, proud foot. So there's I got Magcast tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing a video sometime this week about this whole Discord thing, the age verification thing, because I got some questions and some concerns about all that. That's coming up next month, by the way, for anybody who didn't know. But we'll talk about that also tomorrow night. I'm also going to be doing a cooking video in time on the channel in time for Valentine's Day. It's going to be something for the fellas. So if they want to impress their ladies out there, I'm going to be doing a special cooking video in honor of Valentine's Day. Proud foot. Yes. And so, yeah, I'm going to be doing that. And then Thursday, I'm going to be doing a live reaction on the channel, 5 p.m. Eastern for the PlayStation, what the hell is it called? The Showcase?
State of Play.
What is it called? State of Play.
State of Play.
The PlayStation State of Play, I will be doing 5 p.m. Eastern on my channel. I'll probably start off like 15 minutes before. And then Friday Night Live, Friday Night Live, going to be a busy cat this week. Friday Night Live, I will be on the air with Holly, that blue number, and the two of us will be playing the new game Reanimal on Friday the 13th.
Awesome.
So, yes, we're going to be doing all of that. So it's going to be one hell of a busy week. Every single night I got something going on. So it's going to be a wild week. And yeah, come check it out. We have a great time out there. The Maggot community is absolutely amazing and so supportive and so wonderful. And you know what the thing is? When I get new channel members, even people who are like strangers to the community, like they join the channel or whatever, and the people that are already there, just take them in with open arms and be like, "Come on, man, you're part of the crew. You're part of the crew now." And all of a sudden, new friends are made, new friendships are forged, new gaming partners have shown up. It's amazing, man. We're building this community one brick at a time. And I'm not being sort of cringe and whatever by saying that. We really are building it one brick at a time, and we're going to build ourselves a hell of a kingdom. So. Maverick, you're not invited, by the way. You're not invited.
He said, "I'm only going to be there for Holly."
No. He won't be there at all.
The people that watch the shows and write in the chat, I think of you guys like sort of like me. And I've said this before, but we don't normally talk about gaming in front of our family members or friends or coworkers because they think we're weird. So we just feel like we can't talk about it. but you guys are here because we can talk about the minutia of Hunter's Gathering or some chipset or some weird thing or some change in the industry, because you guys give as much of a crap about this stuff as we do. And we appreciate you. And hopefully I've been talking to Fonz. Shout out to Fonz in the chat. Go sub to his channel. He has his show on Tuesdays, as well as Red Wolf, who also has his show on Tuesdays. So you get like a back-to-back thing of gaming news and discussion. But I've been talking to Fonz about content, and he wants me to bring back the Gaming Weekly News, and I need to do it, but I've kind of been lazy because it was I enjoyed doing it, like covering all the news.
Yeah. You
real
were doing
fast
it on Friday
to give my
mornings,
opinion.
right?
Yeah, I do that Thursday night, and there's just been all this stuff going on ever since Lisa Sue and Sarah Bond said, "Hey, we're making new content or new hardware," and I'm like, "Holy crap!" And I'm like doing all my homework, but you guys are amazing for supporting all the stuff Mag's doing. So watching my videos and staying here for the XP NC podcast, your experience newscast with a twist of Xbox. But we appreciate
a whole lot of day one. Sorry.
Check us out day 2 on the Colteastwood
Day 2
channel.
podcast starting next week, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Anyway, thank you guys for everything. One last super, and we'll close out from Andy Hart. Thank you so much again for the £5 super. He says, I only mentioned Starfield on Xbox because I misunderstood when you were saying improvements for PS5. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, that's true. I did.
Very
but
good.
I'm saying, well, I mean, let's be honest. They're really making those changes because Xbox is going to be a major, or PlayStation is going to be a major outlet for them. And I can't talk about that yet, but there's some really good news when it comes to Xbox because of PlayStation. And as soon as I get the green light, I will bring it up on the show and we'll revel in, even better stuff. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody. Hit the like button on the way out. Put in a comment after the fact, and we will see you next time. Mag, give them the salute or whatever it is you guys do over there.